The very first Pokémon, Arceus, is said to have existed before the universe itself, making its origin story far more ancient than any other known life form. This singular creature, described in myth as the original one, supposedly emerged from a cosmic egg in absolute nothingness and shaped reality with its 1,000 arms, birthing time, space, and antimatter as its first acts of creation. It is an origin tale that rivals the grandest cosmological myths of human civilization, yet it belongs not to our world, but to another, a parallel Earth where impossible creatures have walked alongside humanity since the dawn of consciousness, where the laws of nature bend to accommodate beings that defy every principle of biology, physics, and reason. This is the world of Pokémon, a reality where children carry godlike entities in spherical capsules, where ancient dragons sleep beneath cities, where the fabric of dimensions tears open to reveal alternate universes, and where the line between animal, elemental force, and deity dissolves into something entirely new. What began as a simple video game in 1996 has evolved into the highest-grossing media franchise in human history, surpassing Star Wars, Marvel, and Mickey Mouse combined, generating over $100 billion and embedding itself so deeply into global culture that its creatures have become as recognizable as any religious icon or corporate logo. But the story of Pokémon is not merely one of commercial triumph or nostalgic childhood memories. It is a mythology that spans billions of years within its own internal chronology, a timeline that begins before time itself and extends into speculative futures we have not yet witnessed. It is a narrative architecture built across dozens of games, hundreds of episodes, thousands of trading cards, and countless ancillary media, all interlocking to form a cosmology as complex and contradictory as any ancient religious text. The Pokémon world operates on rules that seem whimsical on the surface, but reveal profound philosophical questions upon examination. How do creatures evolve instantaneously through battle and friendship rather than across generations? Why do some Pokémon possess human-level intelligence while others remain purely instinctual? What does it mean that 10-year-old children are entrusted with the capture and training of beings capable of destroying mountains, freezing oceans, or warping the flow of time? These questions are not bugs in the system, but features of a fictional universe that has been meticulously constructed, revised, and expanded over nearly 3 decades. The franchise has introduced over 1,000 distinct species, each with its own biology, behavior, habitat, and role in the ecosystem, creating a naturalist's catalogue of impossible life. It has mapped out multiple continents, each inspired by real-world regions from Japan to France to Hawaii to the United Kingdom, and populated them with cultures, histories, and legends that feel lived-in and authentic despite their fantastical elements. It has constructed a technological civilization where Pokeballs use digitization technology to convert matter into data, where Pokémon centers offer free universal healthcare through instant healing machines, and where a global economy revolves around the capture, training, and battling of creatures that could, in the wrong hands, pose existential threats to human survival. Yet for all its scale and complexity, Pokémon remains fundamentally a story about relationships, the bond between human and creature, between trainer and trained, between civilization and the wild. It is a fantasy of mastery and partnership, where young people venture into tall grass and emerge as champions, where friendship is literalized as a stat that makes creatures stronger, where the greatest trainers are not those who dominate through force, but those who understand and respect the beings in their care. This theme has resonated across generations, cultures, and languages, making Pokémon one of the few truly universal narratives of the modern age. Children in Tokyo, teenagers in São Paulo, and adults in Stockholm all recognize Pikachu. All understand the basic grammar of type advantages and evolution, all share a common vocabulary of Pokeballs, gyms, and Elite Fours. The franchise has become a kind of secular mythology, a shared imaginative space where millions of people have invested countless hours, not merely consuming content, but actively participating in its world through games, trades, battles, and creative expression. But beneath the colorful creatures and adventure narratives lies a timeline of staggering depth, one that the games and anime have revealed in fragments across decades. The Pokémon universe did not begin with a boy leaving Pallet Town in 1996. It began in the void before existence, with a cosmic egg and a deity who would shape everything that followed. From that primordial moment, the timeline unfolds across geological epochs, through the formation of continents and the emergence of prehistoric Pokémon whose fossilized remains can still be revived in the modern era, through the rise of ancient civilizations that built temples to legendary creatures and waged wars with Pokémon at their side, through the gradual development of human-Pokémon coexistence and the technologies that would formalize that relationship, and finally into the modern era where the franchise's main narratives take place, a world that looks remarkably like our own but functions according to entirely different rules. Each generation of Pokémon games has added layers to this history, introducing new legendary Pokémon whose myths reach back thousands of years, new regions with their own cultural memories and archaeological mysteries, new dimensions and parallel worlds that complicate our understanding of what the Pokémon universe even is. Generation 4, released in 2006, was particularly transformative in this regard, introducing Arceus and the creation trio of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, and thereby establishing a cosmological framework that retroactively recontextualized everything that had come before. Suddenly, the Pokémon world was not just a place where strange creatures existed, but a deliberately created universe with a divine architect and a metaphysical structure. Later generations would continue this expansion, introducing concepts like ultraspace, alternate dimensions accessed through wormholes, and regional variants that suggested parallel evolutionary paths across isolated ecosystems. The timeline has become so vast and intricate that it rivals the extended universes of science fiction franchises that have been building their continuities for half a century or more. Yet unlike many long-running franchises that collapse under the weight of their own contradictions, Pokémon has managed to maintain a coherent core even as it expands into increasingly ambitious territory. This is partly because the franchise has always embraced a certain degree of ambiguity and mystery, presenting its legends as in-world myths rather than objective facts, allowing for multiple interpretations and regional variations. It is also because the games, despite their fantastical elements, are grounded in systems and mechanics that feel consistent and logical within their own context. The type chart, the evolution chains, the breeding mechanics, the move pools, all of these create a sense of order and predictability that makes the world feel real even when it is depicting the impossible. And it is because the before time itself existed, before space had any meaning, before the universe drew its first breath, there was nothing. Not darkness, not emptiness in the way we understand it, but an absolute void, where the very concepts of existence and non-existence had yet to be defined. Within this swirling vortex of nothingness, something impossible happened. From the formless chaos emerged consciousness, awareness, intention. This was the moment Arceus came into being. Arceus, known to later civilizations as the Alpha Pokémon and the original one, was not born in any conventional sense. There was no parent, no creator, no preceding force. Arceus simply was, manifesting from the primordial void as the first entity to exist. Its form, which would later be depicted as a white equine creature with a golden cross-shaped wheel around its midsection, represented the totality of creation itself. Every type of elemental energy that would eventually define the Pokémon world flowed through Arceus, making it the only being to transcend the limitations that would govern all other life. The ancient texts discovered in the Sinnoh region, specifically the stone tablets found in the ruins beneath Mount Coronet, describe this moment as the universe's awakening, when potential became reality. But existence without structure is meaningless. A universe cannot simply be, it must become, and becoming requires the fundamental frameworks upon which reality operates. Arceus understood this with a wisdom that predated wisdom itself. The first act of creation, the first decision made by consciousness in the newborn cosmos, was to establish time. Without time, nothing could change, nothing could grow, nothing could have a past or future. Events could not follow one another. Cause and effect would be impossible. And so Arceus concentrated its infinite power and brought forth Dialga. Dialga emerged as the physical embodiment of time itself, a dragon of steel and diamond whose every heartbeat would mark the passage of moments. Its body, covered in metallic blue armor with diamond-like protrusions along its spine, was more than mere flesh and bone. Dialga was time made manifest, and with its creation, the concept of before and after came into existence. The flow of causality began. The universe could now have a history, a present, and a future. Dialga's roar, which would echo across eons, carried within it the steady march of seconds, minutes, hours, days, and years. Every tick of every clock that would ever exist, every sunrise and sunset, every birth and death, all of these would occur under Dialga's dominion. The temporal Pokémon, as it would later be known, took its place as one of the fundamental pillars of reality. Yet time without space is equally meaningless. Events must occur somewhere, not just somewhen. Existence requires dimension, distance, direction. A universe needs room to exist within, boundaries to define itself against, coordinates to give location meaning. For this purpose, Arceus performed its second great act of creation, bringing forth Palkia. Where Dialga embodied the when of existence, Palkia would embody the where. Palkia materialized as a dragon of pearl and water, its body a pale lavender marked with pink spheres on its shoulders that seemed to contain entire dimensions within them. The spatial Pokémon possessed the ability to warp space itself, to bend distance, to create gaps between points in reality, to define the very concept of here and there. With Palkia's birth, the universe gained dimension. Up and down, left and right, forward and backward, all the axes of space came into being. The void now had structure, coordinates, the possibility of separation and distance. Palkia's power allowed for the existence of multiple locations, for things to be apart from one another, for the concept of travel and position to have meaning. But Arceus was not finished. Time and space, while fundamental, were not complete. The universe required balance, and balance required opposition. For every action, there must be a counterforce. For every creation, there must be the potential for uncreation. For matter, there must be antimatter. And so Arceus created a third member of what would become known as the Creation Trio, a being equal in power to Dialga and Palkia, but opposite in nature. This was Giratina. Giratina took form as a massive serpentine dragon, its body marked with black and grey stripes and accented with blood-red highlights. 6 ghostly appendages resembling legs or wings extended from its body, and golden spikes crowned its head. Where Dialga and Palkia represented the constructive forces of reality, Giratina embodied antimatter, the destructive counterbalance necessary for universal equilibrium. Its very existence created a mirror to the physical world, a realm that would later be called the distortion world, a dimension where the normal rules of physics did not apply, where gravity shifted without reason, where time and space behaved erratically, where up could become down in an instant. The distortion world came into being as Giratina's domain, a necessary shadow to the material universe. This inverted realm existed alongside reality, touching it but separate from it, a place where cause and effect operated differently, where the laws that Dialga and Palkia had established could be bent or broken. In many ways, the distortion world served as a pressure valve for reality itself, a place where the contradictions and impossibilities of existence could be contained without damaging the fabric of the primary universe. However, Giratina's nature proved problematic. The renegade Pokémon, as it would later be called, possessed a violent temperament that threatened the delicate balance Arceus sought to establish. Where Dialga and Palkia worked in harmony to build the universe, Giratina's aggressive tendencies and destructive impulses created discord. The exact nature of Giratina's transgression has been lost to time, but the ancient texts suggest it attempted to assert dominance over its siblings, to upset the careful equilibrium between time and space, to remake reality according to its own chaotic vision. This could not be tolerated. Arceus made the difficult decision to banish Giratina permanently to the distortion world. The renegade Pokémon would remain there, unable to enter the physical universe except under the most extraordinary circumstances, when the boundary between worlds grew thin or was deliberately torn open. This banishment served multiple purposes. It removed a destabilizing force from the developing universe, while simultaneously ensuring that Giratina could still perform its necessary function as the embodiment of antimatter, maintaining balance from its isolated dimension. The distortion world became both Giratina's kingdom and its prison, a realm where it ruled supreme, but from which it could not escape. With the Creation Trio established and Giratina contained, Dialga and Palkia began their great work in earnest. The two dragons moved through the newly formed dimensions, their powers interweaving to create the structure of reality. Dialga's control over time ensured that the universe could evolve, that change could occur in an ordered sequence. Palkia's mastery of space provided the canvas upon which this evolution could take place, stretching the fabric of reality outward in all directions. The universe expanded under their influence, growing from an infinitesimal point into a vast expanse. Galaxies formed, spinning into existence as matter coalesced under the laws that Dialga and Palkia had set in motion. Stars ignited, their nuclear fires burning across the newly created distances. Planets took shape from clouds of cosmic dust, each one a unique expression of the possibilities inherent in the framework of time and space. The universe became a tapestry of countless worlds, each with its own characteristics, its own potential for hosting life. Among these countless worlds, one planet held special significance. This was the world that would simply become known as the Pokémon world, though it would later be divided into many regions with names like Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, and others. This planet formed in what would be considered an ideal location, with the right distance from its star to support liquid water, with the right combination of elements to allow for complex chemistry, with the right conditions to eventually nurture life in all its diverse forms. But Arceus understood that a universe, no matter how perfectly structured, was incomplete without life to inhabit it, and life required more than just physical laws. Living beings would need certain intangible qualities to truly thrive, to grow beyond mere existence into something greater. They would need the capacity for thought, for emotion, for choice. And so Arceus turned its attention to creating beings who would bestow these essential qualities upon all future life. The first of these beings was Azelf, the being of willpower. Azelf emerged as a small, grey and blue fairy-like Pokémon with 2 tails and a partially cyan face. Its creation served a specific purpose in the grand design. Azelf would be responsible for instilling determination in all living things, the drive to act, to persist, to overcome obstacles, to pursue goals despite adversity. With knowledge, willpower, and emotion now woven into the very fabric of reality, Arceus turned its attention to the final member of this fundamental trinity. Mesprit, the being of emotion, emerged from the original one's creative power as the third and final member of what would become known as the Lake Guardians. Where Uxie brought the capacity for thought and Azelf instilled the strength of will, Mesprit carried within itself something equally vital, the ability to feel. This tiny pink sprite, no larger than a child's toy, held dominion over the entire emotional spectrum of existence. Joy, sorrow, love, fear, compassion, anger, every feeling that would ever stir in any living heart originated from Mesprit's essence. Without emotion, knowledge would be cold and purposeless. Without emotion, willpower would lack direction and meaning. Mesprit completed the triad, ensuring that the beings who would one day populate this universe would not merely exist as thinking, willing entities, but as creatures capable of connection, empathy, and the rich inner life that separates true consciousness from mere mechanical function. The 3 Lake Guardians, now complete in their number and purpose, hovered together in the formless void. They represented the 3 pillars of sentience itself, the foundation upon which all sapient life would be built. But their work was not to remain in the cosmic heights alongside their creator. Arceus had a specific role in mind for this trio, a sacred duty that would require them to take their place within the physical world that was about to be formed. As the universe began to take shape around them, as matter coalesced and the first structures of reality solidified, the 3 Guardians received their calling. They descended from the cosmic plane, passing through layers of forming reality until they reached the world that would become the center of the Pokémon universe. This planet, still young and raw, already possessed 3 deep bodies of water, 3 lakes that would serve as the perfect sanctuaries for these embodiments of consciousness. Azelf, Uxie, and Mesprit each chose a lake, diving beneath the waters and establishing themselves in the depths. These locations would later be known as Lake Valor, Lake Acuity, and Lake Verity, 3 sacred sites in the Sinnoh region, where the presence of the Guardians could still be felt millennia later. By anchoring themselves to these physical locations, the Lake Guardians created conduits through which their gifts could flow into all living things that would emerge on this world. The presence of the Lake Guardians in these waters had an immediate and profound effect. Their essence began to radiate outward, permeating the planet itself. Every creature that would eventually evolve, every being that would one day walk, swim, or fly across this world would carry within it a spark of what the Guardians represented. The capacity for knowledge, the strength of will, and the depth of emotion would become inherent traits in all life. This was not a one-time gift, but an ongoing connection, a living link between the Guardians and the world they now inhabited. The lakes themselves became sacred, their waters imbued with psychic energy so potent that even approaching them could affect the mind and spirit. Legends would eventually speak of how those who disturbed the lake guardians risked losing their emotions, their memories, or their willpower, a testament to the power these small beings wielded. But for now, in this primordial age, they simply rested in their chosen sanctuaries, their work of blessing the world with consciousness only just beginning. With the framework of consciousness established, Arceus moved to the next phase of creation, the physical world itself. The universe now had time, space, and antimatter to give it structure. It had knowledge, willpower, and emotion to give it spirit. But it lacked substance, the actual matter and energy that would form the stage upon which all life would play out. For this monumental task, Arceus created 3 more legendary beings, each embodying a fundamental aspect of the planetary environment. These would not be abstract concepts like time or emotion, but raw elemental forces, titans of unimaginable power whose very existence would shape the physical reality of the world. First came Groudon, the continent Pokémon, a colossal being of earth and magma. Groudon emerged as a living mountain, its body composed of hardened magma and primordial rock, its skin marked with glowing seams of molten energy. This behemoth embodied the land itself, and its purpose was singular: to expand the continents, to raise solid ground from the formless chaos, to create the terrestrial realm where land-dwelling life could eventually flourish. Groudon possessed the power to evaporate water with intense heat, to summon volcanic eruptions, and to cause the very earth to rise and expand. Its ability, known in later ages as Desolate Land, could intensify sunlight to such an extreme degree that rain would evaporate before touching the ground. This was not mere weather manipulation, but a fundamental alteration of natural law within Groudon's presence. The continent Pokémon set to work immediately, its massive footsteps causing mountains to rise, its presence heating the young planet's surface and creating the first land masses. Next, Arceus brought forth Kyogre, the sea basin Pokémon, Groudon's opposite and equal. Where Groudon was solid and terrestrial, Kyogre was fluid and aquatic. This enormous creature resembled a primordial whale, its body marked with glowing patterns that pulsed with the rhythm of the tides themselves. Kyogre embodied the ocean, and its mandate was to expand the seas, to fill the low places with water, to create the marine realm that would cradle aquatic life. Kyogre wielded the power to summon torrential rains, to cause the seas to swell and rise, and to generate water from seemingly nothing. Its ability, later known as Primordial Sea, created rainfall so heavy and constant that fire itself could not burn in its presence, another fundamental override of natural law. The sea basin Pokémon began its work in concert with Groudon, filling the spaces between the rising continents with vast oceans, creating the hydrosphere that would regulate the planet's climate and support countless forms of life. Finally, Arceus created Rayquaza, the sky-high Pokémon, to govern the realm between Earth and space. Rayquaza took the form of a serpentine dragon, green as jade, its body sleek and built for flight through the upper atmosphere. This legendary being made its home in the ozone layer, that crucial boundary between the breathable atmosphere and the vacuum of space. Rayquaza's purpose was to maintain the sky, to control the atmosphere, and, crucially, to serve as a mediator between the forces of land and sea. Unlike Groudon and Kyogre, whose powers were focused on expansion and creation, Rayquaza possessed the ability to calm and control, to restore balance when the other 2 titans overreached. Its presence in the ozone layer allowed it to oversee the entire planet, descending only when necessary to fulfill its role as peacekeeper. Rayquaza fed on the meteoroids and particles in the upper atmosphere, sustaining itself on cosmic matter while it watched over the world below. The creation of these 3 titans set in motion a process that would shape the planet for ages to come, but it also created an immediate problem. Groudon and Kyogre, both driven by their fundamental natures, began to clash almost immediately. Groudon sought to expand the land, raising continents and evaporating seas to create more terrestrial space. Kyogre sought to expand the ocean, summoning endless rains and swelling the seas to cover the land Groudon had raised. Neither acted from malice or aggression, they were simply fulfilling their essential purposes, but those purposes were in direct opposition. The conflict between them escalated rapidly, their powers feeding off each other in a catastrophic cycle. Groudon's intense heat would evaporate vast quantities of water, causing Kyogre to summon even more rain to compensate. Kyogre's floods would threaten to drown the continents, causing Groudon to raise even more land and intensify its heat. The young planet became a battleground, torn between extremes of drought and deluge, fire and flood. This primordial conflict between land and sea raged with devastating intensity. Groudon's precipice blades, massive spears of stone and magma erupting from the earth, clashed against Kyogre's origin pulse, concentrated beams of pure oceanic energy. The planet's surface was in constant flux, continents rising and falling, oceans expanding and contracting. Had this battle continued unchecked, the world might never have stabilized, might never have achieved the delicate balance necessary for life to take hold. The energy released by their conflict was sufficient to reshape entire regions, to boil seas and crack continents. This was not a simple territorial dispute, but a fundamental incompatibility between two primal forces, each absolute in its domain. Rayquaza, observing from its perch in the ozone layer, recognized the threat this conflict posed to the world's stability. The sky-high Pokémon descended from the upper atmosphere, its serpentine form cutting through the clouds like a meteor. Rayquaza possessed a unique power that neither Groudon nor Kyogre could match: the ability to nullify their weather effects, to suppress their reality-altering abilities through sheer force of will. When Rayquaza arrived at the battlefield where the two titans clashed, it unleashed its Dragon Ascent, a devastating aerial attack that demonstrated its superior power. The sky-high Pokémon did not destroy Groudon and Kyogre, that was never its purpose, but it did force them to cease their conflict. Through a combination of overwhelming force and its natural ability to calm the atmospheric chaos they created, Rayquaza compelled the two titans to enter a state of dormancy, their work of shaping the world complete enough for now. With the conflict resolved, the world finally achieved a stable configuration. The continents stood firm, their mountains and valleys carved by Groudon's power. The oceans filled the basins between them, their depths shaped by Kyogre's influence. The atmosphere wrapped around the planet like a protective blanket, maintained by Rayquaza's vigilant presence. Land, sea, and sky had been established, each in balance with the others. The stage was set, and on this newly stabilized world, the first primitive forms of life began to emerge. We now move forward from the moment of creation itself to witness the actual formation of the Pokémon world as we know it, a process that unfolds across billions of years in the ancient past. This is where the abstract forces of existence begin to take concrete, physical form. At the heart of this cosmic dawn stands Arceus, the original one. According to the most ancient texts preserved in the Sinnoh region's Canalav library, Arceus emerges from a solitary egg suspended in a vortex of absolute nothingness. This egg exists before matter, before energy, before even the concepts that would give meaning to existence. When Arceus hatches from this primordial egg, it does not simply appear in the universe, it brings the universe into being through its very existence. The Pokémon world, the dimension that will eventually house countless species and civilizations, springs forth from Arceus like light erupting from a single point. This is not a gradual process, but an instantaneous flowering of reality itself, transforming the void into a canvas upon which all future events will unfold. But a world without structure, without the fundamental rules that govern cause and effect, remains formless and chaotic. Arceus understands this intrinsically. From its own essence, from the divine energy that constitutes its being, Arceus creates two entities to serve as the pillars of reality. The first is Dialga, a towering dragon-like being of steel and diamond blue who becomes the living embodiment of time itself. Every second that ticks forward, every moment that transitions from future to present to past, flows through Dialga's consciousness. The second is Palkia, a pearl-pink titan whose very body contains the fabric of space. Every dimension, every distance between 2 points, every physical location that can exist, exists within Palkia's domain. These two beings, known collectively as the creation duo, represent the twin axes upon which all reality must be built. Without time, nothing can change or progress. Without space, nothing can exist in relation to anything else. Together, Dialga and Palkia form the foundation of a universe that can actually function. Yet Arceus creates a third being alongside these two, and this creation proves far more problematic. Giratina emerges as the embodiment of antimatter, the shadow self of reality, representing everything that exists in opposition to the normal world. Where Dialga and Palkia create structure, Giratina embodies chaos and destruction. Its very nature threatens to unravel the careful work of its siblings. Ancient Sinnoh mythology describes Giratina's temperament as violent and aggressive, fundamentally incompatible with the stable reality Arceus envisions. The original one makes a decisive choice. Rather than unmake Giratina, Arceus creates an entirely separate realm, a mirror dimension that exists parallel to the main world, but follows different physical laws. This is the distortion world, sometimes called the reverse world or torn world, a place where gravity operates in impossible directions, where time flows inconsistently, and where the normal rules of space bend and break. Arceus banishes Giratina to this realm, not as punishment exactly, but as a necessary quarantine. Giratina becomes the warden and prisoner of this strange dimension simultaneously, forever separated from its siblings, forever watching the main world from behind a dimensional barrier. This banishment establishes a crucial principle that will echo throughout Pokémon history. Even divine beings must face consequences for their nature and actions. With Giratina safely contained, Dialga and Palkia begin their grand work. They do not simply create the universe, they weave it together from the raw potential Arceus has provided. Dialga sets time in motion, establishing the forward flow of causality, ensuring that events proceed in logical sequence rather than occurring all at once or not at all. Palkia simultaneously unfolds space, stretching out the dimensions, creating the vast distances between celestial bodies, carving out the physical stage upon which matter and energy can interact. Together, their combined efforts birth galaxies, stars, and planets. Among these countless worlds, one particular planet receives special attention. This is the Pokémon world itself, the primary stage for our timeline. The planet forms from cosmic dust and debris, coalescing under gravity into a sphere of molten rock and churning gases. It is a violent, inhospitable place at first, but it contains the potential for something far greater. Arceus, observing the physical world taking shape, recognizes that matter and energy alone cannot produce the rich tapestry of life it envisions. Something more is needed, something intangible yet essential. From its being, Arceus creates 3 more entities, smaller than the creation duo, but no less important. These are Azelf, Axi, and Mesprit, known collectively as the Lake Guardians, or the being of emotion, the being of knowledge, and the being of willpower. Each represents a fundamental aspect of consciousness. Azelf embodies willpower and determination, the force that allows beings to make choices and act upon them. Axi embodies knowledge and memory, the capacity to learn, remember, and understand. Mesprit embodies emotion and feeling, the ability to experience joy, sorrow, love, and fear. Together, these 3 beings will eventually gift spirit to all living things that emerge in the Pokémon world. They are the reason that life in this universe is not merely mechanical or instinctive, but genuinely conscious and self-aware. For now, though, the Lake Guardians wait, because the world is not yet ready for life. The planet's surface remains a hellscape of volcanic activity and toxic atmosphere. Before life can flourish, the world needs land to stand on and water to drink. From deep within the planet's mantle, from the superheated magma that churns beneath the forming crust, a being of immense power awakens. This is Groudon, a colossal creature that appears almost dinosaur-like, covered in thick red armor, plating marked with lines that glow like exposed lava. Groudon is not created by Arceus in the same direct way as Dialga or Palkia. Instead, Groudon is born from the earth itself, a personification of the land's primal energy. As Groudon rises and moves, continents form in its wake. Its very presence causes magma to cool and solidify into bedrock. Where Groudon walks, mountains thrust upward from the planet's surface, vast landmasses spread across the globe, breaking the endless ocean into separate seas. Groudon's power over the earth is absolute. It can trigger volcanic eruptions with a thought, reshape entire mountain ranges, and expand the continents ever outward. The Pokémon's motivation is simple, but all-consuming: to create more land, to expand the domain of solid ground, to give the earth dominance over the world. But Groudon is not alone. From the deepest trenches of the primordial ocean, another titan awakens. Kyogre, a massive orca-like leviathan marked with crimson patterns that glow against its deep blue hide, embodies the sea's infinite power. Like Groudon, Kyogre is born from the world itself, rather than directly created by Arceus. It is the ocean given form and will. Kyogre's power allows it to summon endless rain, to create massive tsunamis, to expand the seas and deepen the ocean trenches. Where Kyogre swims, water follows, flooding lowlands and creating new seas. Its goal mirrors Groudon's, but in opposition: to expand the oceans, to cover the world in life-giving water, to give the sea dominance over all. The conflict is inevitable. 2 beings of equal power, each driven by opposing instincts, each seeking to reshape the world according to its nature. When Groudon and Kyogre first encounter each other, the clash is immediate and catastrophic. Groudon's drought-inducing power evaporates water for miles around its body, while Kyogre's rain-summoning ability creates endless deluges. Where they meet, the elements war against each other with apocalyptic intensity. Groudon raises new land from the seafloor, and Kyogre immediately floods it. Kyogre creates massive tidal waves to drown the continents, and Groudon triggers volcanic eruptions to boil the seas. The battle rages across the young planet, neither Titan gaining permanent advantage, neither willing to yield. Earthquakes split the ground. Tsunamis reshape coastlines. The sky itself becomes a battlefield where drought and deluge struggle for supremacy. To enact this grand design, Arceus brings forth a new Titan, a being of pure strength and purpose. This is Regigigas, the colossal Pokémon, a towering figure composed of crystalline structures and dense matter, standing at nearly 4 meters tall and weighing over 400 kilograms. Unlike the trio of time, space, and antimatter that govern abstract cosmic principles, Regigigas is given a physical mission. Its role is to shape the raw material of the world itself, to take the molten, chaotic land masses floating in the primordial oceans and arrange them into a configuration that will support the complex web of life Arceus envisions. The creation of Regigigas represents a shift from the metaphysical to the tangible, from the creation of universal laws to the sculpting of dirt and stone. Regigigas sets to work immediately, and the scale of its labor is almost incomprehensible. Using ropes woven from materials that no longer exist in the modern world, substances that could withstand the incredible forces required, Regigigas literally pulls entire continents across the surface of the planet. The myths preserved in the Sinnoh region speak of this Titan dragging land masses through the seas, its footsteps creating valleys, its passage carving channels that would become straits and rivers. The continents as we know them today, the regions of Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola, Galar, Paldea, and all the others, were not always in their current positions. Regigigas moved them, adjusted them, positioned them according to a plan that would allow for diverse climates, varied ecosystems, and the eventual rise of countless species. The work takes eons. Mountains rise where Regigigas plants its feet for leverage. Ocean trenches form where it drags its burden. The very geography of the Pokémon world is a testament to this single being's tireless effort. But Regigigas does not work entirely alone. As it shapes the continents, it recognizes the need for guardians, for beings that can maintain and protect the different environments it is creating. From the materials of the world itself, Regigigas crafts 3 servants, 3 golems that will embody the fundamental elements of the planet's surface. First, from rocks and clay gathered from the deepest caverns and highest peaks, Regigigas assembles Regirock, the Rock Peak Pokémon. Regirock's body is composed of stones from different eras and locations, and when damaged, it repairs itself by seeking out new rocks to incorporate into its form, meaning its physical composition is constantly changing. Next, from ice formed during the planet's first glacial periods, ice that has never melted, ice that formed under pressures and conditions that can never be replicated, Regigigas creates Regis, the iceberg Pokémon. Regis's body maintains a temperature of negative 200 degrees Celsius, cold enough to freeze anything that comes into contact with it, and its icy form is harder than any steel. Finally, from magma drawn from the planet's core, from molten rock that has been subjected to unimaginable heat and pressure, Regigigas forges Registeel, the iron Pokémon. Registeel's body is composed of a metal that is not found anywhere else on the planet, a substance that is both flexible and incredibly durable, resistant to corrosion, impact, and the passage of time itself. These 3 legendary golems, as they come to be known, are not merely servants, but extensions of Regigigas's will, each one a guardian of a fundamental aspect of the physical world. The creation of the Regi Trio is significant for another reason. It demonstrates that legendary Pokémon can create other legendary Pokémon, that the hierarchy of divine beings is not a simple pyramid with Arceus at the top, but a complex network of creators and creations, each with their own roles and responsibilities. The Regi Trio will go on to play crucial roles in later ages, becoming the subjects of human worship and fear, locked away in sealed chambers, their power considered too dangerous to remain unchecked. But in this early age, they are simply workers, helping Regigigas complete its monumental task. While Regigigas and its golems reshape the surface, deep beneath the earth, in the volcanic heart of what will one day be known as Stark Mountain in the Sinnoh region, another being is born from the planet's fiery core. This is Heatran, the lava dome Pokémon, a creature of molten steel and living magma. Heatran is not created by Arceus or Regigigas, but is instead a spontaneous manifestation of the planet's intense geothermal energy. Its body is a fusion of organic tissue and molten metal, allowing it to walk on walls and ceilings using its cross-shaped feet, which can superheat to grip any surface. Heatran's internal temperature is so extreme that it can melt rock simply by being near it, and it dwells in the magma chambers deep within volcanic systems, feeding on the heat and pressure. The formation of Heatran is significant because it shows that the Pokémon world is not just a stage set by Arceus, but a living, dynamic system capable of generating its own powerful beings. Heatran is tied to the volcanic activity that will continue to shape the world for billions of years, and its presence in Stark Mountain will later become the focus of myths about the mountain's sacred and dangerous nature. With the continents in place, the climate systems beginning to stabilize, and the planet's internal heat regulated by beings like Heatran, the conditions are finally right for life to begin. The first forms of life are simple, microscopic organisms that appear in the warm, mineral-rich waters near volcanic vents and in shallow tidal pools. These are not yet Pokémon in the sense that we understand them, but they are the precursors, the building blocks from which all future life will evolve. Single-celled organisms multiply and diversify, some developing the ability to photosynthesize, capturing the energy of the sun that now shines steadily on the planet's surface. Others become predators, consuming their neighbors and beginning the first food chains. The oceans, once empty and sterile, begin to teem with microscopic life. From these simple beginnings, the first true Pokémon begin to emerge. These earliest Pokémon are adapted to the harsh conditions of the young planet. In the oceans, ancient ancestors of water-type Pokémon develop, creatures that can filter nutrients from the water and navigate the currents. On land, the first rock-type and ground-type Pokémon appear, beings that can withstand the intense heat and radiation, that can burrow into the cooling crust and find shelter from the still frequent volcanic eruptions. In the skies, primitive flying-type Pokémon take to the air, simple gliding creatures at first, but gradually developing the musculature and aerodynamics necessary for true flight. These early Pokémon are not the species we recognize today. They are prototypes, experimental forms, the result of natural selection and the unique energies that permeate the Pokémon world. Fossil records, when they are eventually discovered by human paleontologists millions of years later, will reveal creatures like Omanite, Kabuto, Aerodactyl, and Liliip, Pokémon that thrived in these ancient environments and whose descendants in some cases still exist in the modern era. Alongside the Pokémon, the first plants begin to take root. Simple mosses and algae spread across the rocks near water sources, their green pigments capturing sunlight and converting it into energy through photosynthesis. These plants release oxygen as a byproduct, gradually transforming the planet's atmosphere from one dominated by carbon dioxide and methane into one that can support more complex forms of life. Ferns and primitive trees begin to grow, creating the first forests, providing shelter and food for the evolving Pokémon populations. The relationship between plants and Pokémon is symbiotic from the very beginning. Pokémon spread seeds, pollinate flowers, and their waste products fertilize the soil. In return, plants provide food, oxygen, and habitat. The first true ecosystems begin to form, complex webs of interdependence where every species plays a role. As millions of years pass, the world begins to stabilize. The frequent volcanic eruptions become less common. The asteroid bombardment that characterized the earliest days ceases. The climate, while still subject to fluctuations, settles into patterns that allow for the long-term survival of species. The continents, now in their approximate final positions, develop distinct climates and biomes. Some regions are tropical, hot and humid, covered in dense rainforests. Others are arid, dominated by deserts and scrublands. Still others are temperate, with seasons that cycle between warm summers and cold winters. The polar regions freeze over, creating vast ice caps that will wax and wane over the coming ages. This diversification of environments drives the diversification of Pokémon species. Pokémon adapt to their local conditions, developing specialized traits that allow them to thrive in their particular niches. The foundations for everything that will follow are now firmly in place. The physical world has been shaped. The laws of nature, both the universal laws governed by Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, and the biological laws of evolution and ecology are functioning as intended. Life has taken hold and is spreading, diversifying, becoming more complex with each passing generation. The stage is set for the rise of truly powerful and intelligent Pokémon, for the emergence of human civilization, and for the countless conflicts and collaborations that will define the history of the Pokémon world. But all of that is still unimaginably far in the future. For now, the world is young, wild, and full of potential. We now enter a period stretching across millions of years ago, an epoch so vast and transformative that it defies easy comprehension. This is the prehistoric era, a time when the fundamental forces Arceus had set in motion began to crystallize into the world we recognize today. The raw potential of creation was about to take physical form, and the legendary Pokémon, those beings of immense power that would shape entire aspects of reality, were about to emerge. Arceus, having established the basic framework of existence, now turned its attention to populating this new world with beings capable of maintaining and governing its most essential functions. From its own essence, Arceus brought forth three entities of unparalleled power. First came Dialga, a dragon wreathed in blue and steel, tasked with the monumental responsibility of governing time itself. Every second that ticks forward, every moment that passes from present into past, falls under Dialga's domain. Its very heartbeat is said to regulate the flow of temporal progression throughout the universe. Simultaneously, Arceus created Palkia, a dragon of pearl and pink hues, whose purpose was equally fundamental. Palkia received dominion over space, over the very fabric of physical reality. The three dimensions we move through, the distances between objects, the structure of matter itself, all of these fall under Palkia's control. Where Dialga ensures that events occur in sequence, Palkia ensures that those events have a place to occur at all. The third being Arceus created during this initial act of delegation was Giratina, a creature as powerful as its siblings, but fundamentally different in nature. Giratina embodied antimatter, the mirror opposite of the physical world. In the early days of creation, this shadow dragon worked alongside Dialga and Palkia, forming a trinity of cosmic forces. However, Giratina's nature proved too volatile, too destructive for the delicate balance Arceus sought to establish. The exact nature of Giratina's transgression remains shrouded in mystery, lost to the depths of time, but ancient texts suggest that its very presence began to destabilize the material world. The antimatter it embodied threatened to unravel the carefully woven tapestry of reality. Arceus made a decision that would echo through eternity. Rather than destroy Giratina, which would have created an imbalance in the cosmic order, Arceus banished the rebellious dragon to a realm of its own. This place, which would come to be known as the Distortion World, exists as a mirror to our own reality. Here, the laws of physics bend and twist in impossible ways. Gravity operates in multiple directions simultaneously, waterfalls flow upward, and land masses float in configurations that would be impossible in our dimension. In this realm of reversed physics and twisted geometry, Giratina would serve as both prisoner and warden, maintaining balance by existing apart from the world it once threatened. With the fundamental forces of reality now governed by these three powerful entities, Arceus continued its work of creation. The planet itself needed form, needed definition beyond the primordial soup of energy that swirled across its surface. For this task, Arceus created two titans of elemental power, beings so massive and so potent that their very existence would reshape the planet. Groudon emerged from the depths of the earth itself, a colossus of rock and magma. This ground-type Pokémon, a term we use to categorize species by their elemental affinities and abilities, embodied the land in its most primal form. Groudon's purpose was singular and absolute: to expand the continents, to raise mountains, to create solid ground where there was none. Its body radiated heat intense enough to evaporate entire oceans, and wherever it walked, the earth rose up to meet it. Volcanic activity followed in its wake, building new land masses from molten rock. From the primordial seas came Kyogre, Groudon's counterpart and opposite. This massive water-type Pokémon controlled the oceans with the same absolute authority that Groudon held over land. Kyogre could summon rainstorms of such intensity that they could flood entire regions, and its presence caused the seas to swell and expand. Where Groudon sought to create more land, Kyogre worked to preserve and expand the oceans, understanding that water was just as essential to life as solid ground. The conflict between these two titans was perhaps inevitable. Groudon and Kyogre, both working toward their individual purposes, found themselves in direct opposition. When Groudon raised new land, it encroached upon Kyogre's domain. When Kyogre flooded coastal regions, it threatened to undo Groudon's work. Their battles shook the planet to its core. Earthquakes rippled across continents as Groudon channeled the Earth's fury. Tsunamis of unprecedented scale crashed against shorelines as Kyogre demonstrated its mastery over water. The very climate of the planet hung in the balance as these two forces of nature clashed again and again. The devastation threatened to undo everything Arceus had created. The delicate balance necessary for life to flourish was being torn apart by these two warring titans. It became clear that a mediator was needed, a third force capable of standing between these elemental giants and enforcing peace. From the ozone layer, that thin band of atmosphere that shields the planet from harmful radiation, descended Rayquaza. This serpentine dragon of green and gold possessed power equal to both Groudon and Kyogre combined. Rayquaza's domain was the sky itself, and from this neutral territory it could observe and intervene in the conflicts below. When Groudon and Kyogre's battles threatened to spiral out of control, Rayquaza would descend in a blaze of emerald light, its mere presence enough to quell the fighting. The Sky-High Pokémon, as it would later be known, established an uneasy truce between the land and sea, forcing both titans into dormancy when their conflicts grew too destructive. With the basic elements of land, sea, and sky now established, the planet's geography still required refinement. The continents existed as rough formations, their positions arbitrary and their shapes undefined. Another titan was needed, one whose purpose was not creation or destruction, but organization and arrangement. Regigigas, a colossal normal-type Pokémon of incredible strength, emerged during this period. Standing taller than mountains, this giant possessed physical power unmatched by almost any other being. Using ropes woven from materials lost to history, Regigigas grasped the continents themselves and began to pull. The Earth groaned and shifted as this titan dragged entire landmasses across the planet's surface. Over countless millennia, Regigigas positioned the continents according to some grand design, creating the geographical layout that would define the Pokémon world. The regions we know today, Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola, Galar, and all the others, owe their positions to Regigigas's titanic labor. As the planet's geography stabilized and the climate began to settle into predictable patterns, life exploded across the world. The oceans teemed with primitive Pokémon, creatures adapted to the harsh conditions of this young world. Omanite and Omastar, spiral-shelled water types, filtered nutrients from the seas. Kabuto and Kabutops, armored predators with razor-sharp scythes, hunted in the shallow waters. In the skies, Aerodactyl, a fearsome rock and flying type with savage teeth and membranous wings, ruled as an apex predator. These ancient Pokémon, which we now know primarily through their fossilized remains, were perfectly adapted to their prehistoric environment. On land, massive Pokémon like Cranidos and Rampados used their incredibly thick skulls to battle for territory and mates. Shieldon and Bastiodon, their defensive counterparts, developed armor plating capable of withstanding almost any attack. These ancient species would eventually give rise to the incredible diversity of Pokémon we see today, but in this prehistoric era, they were the dominant life forms, each species carving out its own ecological niche. Approximately 300 million years ago, something unprecedented occurred. An ancient civilization, one that predates any human society we have records of, achieved a level of technological sophistication that would not be matched again for hundreds of millions of years. This mysterious culture discovered a bug-type Pokémon, a species that no longer exists in its original form. Rather than simply coexist with this creature, these ancient people chose to modify it, to enhance it through technological means that remain poorly understood even today. The result was Genesect, a cyborg Pokémon of terrifying power. The ancient civilization equipped this modified bug and steel type with a cannon mounted on its back, a weapon capable of devastating attacks. What purpose Genesect served for its creators remains unknown. Was it a weapon of war, a tool for hunting, a guardian? The civilization that created it vanished long ago, leaving behind only their most enduring creation, frozen in time until it would be discovered and reawakened in the distant future. The devastating conflict, however, was not the only cataclysmic event to scar the landscape during these ancient times. A different kind of primal power was stirring, far older and more fundamental than any human-made weapon. We are, of course, talking about primal reversion, a phenomenon that saw the legendary titans Groudon and Kyogre revert to their original, more powerful forms. This wasn't a controlled evolution like Mega Evolution, but a regression to a state of raw, untamed power, fueled by the natural energy of the planet. Groudon, the embodiment of the land, expanded continents, causing volcanic eruptions and droughts that scorched vast swathes of the world. Its very presence dried up oceans, creating new land masses and reshaping the geological features of entire regions. Imagine the sheer scale of this environmental upheaval, the ground itself groaning under the weight of newly formed mountains, rivers evaporating into dust. Simultaneously, Kyogre, the master of the seas, unleashed torrential downpours and tsunamis that swallowed coastal areas whole. Its primal power expanded the oceans, submerging existing land and creating new, vast bodies of water. The sheer force of these storms, described in ancient texts as endless deluges, would have been unimaginable, capable of eroding mountains and carving out new ocean trenches. These two colossal forces, locked in an eternal struggle for dominance over the planet's surface, were not merely battling each other. Their very existence in these primal forms was tearing the world apart. The environmental changes were not localized, they were global, impacting every corner of the nascent world. Entire ecosystems were destroyed, species driven to extinction, and the very climate of the planet was thrown into chaos. This period would have been one of immense suffering for any burgeoning life forms, including early humans and Pokémon. The fate of the world hung precariously in the balance, teetering on the brink of complete annihilation, until a third, equally ancient power intervened. From the celestial reaches of the ozone layer, Rayquaza, the sky-high Pokémon, descended to quell the raging titans. Rayquaza, who typically resides in the upper atmosphere, is traditionally seen as the arbiter between Groudon and Kyogre, a neutral force that maintains the delicate balance of the planet. Its intervention was not a battle in the conventional sense, but a display of overwhelming power that forced both Groudon and Kyogre to cease their primal reversion and return to their dormant states. This monumental event, often depicted in ancient cave paintings and oral traditions, is a testament to the immense power of the legendary Pokémon and their crucial role in shaping the very fabric of the world. Rayquaza's roar, said to be capable of parting clouds and shaking the very earth, was the sound of order being restored to a world on the verge of collapse. The environmental scars left by this primal conflict would take millennia to heal, but the immediate threat was averted, allowing life to slowly begin its recovery. It was in the aftermath of such grand, world-altering events, as the planet gradually stabilized and life began to flourish once more, that the earliest forms of human civilization began to take shape. And with the rise of civilization came the need for communication and expression beyond simple vocalizations. This era saw the emergence of the earliest forms of writing and art. These weren't elaborate scripts or intricate masterpieces, but rather rudimentary etchings on cave walls, carvings on stone tablets, and simple pictograms. Crucially, these early artistic and written expressions overwhelmingly depicted Pokémon and their interactions with humans. We see images of humans hunting alongside Pokémon, taming them for labor, and even engaging in what appear to be early forms of recreational interaction. These depictions offer invaluable insights into the daily lives of prehistoric humans and their profound connection to the Pokémon world. Imagine a cave painting showing a tribal hunter, spear in hand, alongside a powerful Arcanine, both pursuing a herd of Miltank, or an ancient rock carving illustrating a group of humans using onyx to help construct a rudimentary settlement. These aren't just artistic expressions, they are historical records, capturing the symbiotic relationship that defined this era. The very act of documenting these interactions suggests a growing awareness of the world around them and a desire to pass down knowledge and stories. As these early forms of communication developed, so too did the complexity of human settlements. The earliest known human settlements and cities began to be established during this period. These weren't sprawling metropolises, but rather fortified villages and small towns, strategically located near resources like fresh water and fertile land. What's fascinating is that many of these early settlements were not built solely by human hands. Ancient ruins and archaeological evidence strongly suggest that these early cities were often constructed with the invaluable assistance of Pokémon. Geodude and Golem would have been instrumental in quarrying stone and moving heavy materials. Machop and Machoke would have provided the brute strength needed for construction. Even more specialized Pokémon, like Diglett and Dugtrio, could have aided in excavation and creating underground passages. This collaboration highlights the deep integration of Pokémon into human society from its very inception. These weren't just tools, they were partners, integral to the survival and advancement of these nascent civilizations. Imagine a bustling prehistoric village where humans and Pokémon work side by side, a testament to their mutual reliance and cooperation. These settlements, often built with defensive considerations in mind, also served as centers for trade and cultural exchange, further solidifying the bonds between human communities and their Pokémon companions. With the establishment of settlements and the increasing complexity of human-Pokémon interactions, it was only natural that more structured forms of engagement would emerge. This period marks the development of early forms of Pokémon training and battling. Initially, these weren't the organized, regulated battles we see in modern Pokémon leagues. Instead, they were likely more informal, serving as a means of sport, a way to test the strength and skill of both human and Pokémon, and crucially, as a method of defense. A well-trained Pokémon could protect a settlement from wild, aggressive Pokémon or even rival human tribes. Think of it as a form of martial arts, where the Pokémon is an extension of the trainer's will and strategy. These early battles would have been raw and instinctual, focusing on the inherent abilities of the Pokémon and the tactical prowess of their human partners. The concept of training would have involved developing a Pokémon's natural strengths, honing its attacks, and fostering a deep understanding between trainer and Pokémon. This wasn't about badges or championships, it was about survival, community protection, and a display of prowess. The development of these early battling techniques laid the groundwork for the elaborate competitive scene that would emerge millennia later. It was within this context of shared labor, mutual defense, and evolving forms of interaction that something truly profound began to solidify. The first known instances of humans and Pokémon forming strong, lasting bonds. While a utilitarian relationship had existed for some time, this era saw the emergence of genuine companionship, loyalty, and affection between species. These weren't just partnerships of convenience, they were relationships built on trust, understanding, and shared experiences. Imagine a lone hunter and his loyal Stoutland, who has been with him since it was a Lillipup, sharing meals and protecting each other from the harsh wilderness. Or a farmer and her trusted Miltank, whose milk sustained her family and whose calm presence brought comfort. These bonds transcended mere utility, becoming emotional anchors in a challenging world. This deep connection is a cornerstone of the entire Pokémon franchise, and its origins can be traced back to this prehistoric era. It's the foundation of what it means to be a Pokémon trainer, a testament to the idea that humans and Pokémon can truly be friends, companions, and family. These early bonds, passed down through generations, became the blueprint for the enduring partnership we see in the modern world. As these bonds deepened and civilizations grew, so too did the human understanding, or perhaps interpretation, of the world around them. This era saw the genesis and proliferation of ancient myths and legends about powerful Pokémon and their roles in creation. Without scientific explanations for natural phenomena, early humans attributed these events to the actions of colossal, godlike Pokémon. The creation of the world, the formation of land and sea, the changing of seasons, the very cycle of life and death, all were explained through the actions of legendary Pokémon. Arceus, the alpha Pokémon, was often depicted as the creator of all things, shaping the universe with its 1,000 arms. Dialga and Palkia were seen as the masters of time and space, their movements dictating the flow of existence. Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, as we've already discussed, were central to the myths of land, sea, and sky. These myths weren't just stories, they were attempts to make sense of a mysterious and often terrifying world. They provided comfort, explained the inexplicable, and instilled a sense of wonder and reverence for the powerful beings that shared their planet. These legends, passed down through oral traditions, cave paintings, and early forms of writing, formed the spiritual and cultural bedrock of early human societies. They shaped their beliefs, their rituals, and their understanding of their place in the grand scheme of existence. Ultimately, it was through this intricate tapestry of environmental upheaval, technological innovation, social development, and spiritual growth that the foundations of modern Pokémon society and culture were laid during this prehistoric era. The symbiotic relationship between humans and Pokémon, forged in the crucible of survival and strengthened by mutual respect and affection, became the defining characteristic of this emerging civilization. The rudimentary forms of training and battling evolved into more sophisticated practices. The early settlements grew into complex societies. The myths and legends continued to inspire and guide generations. The very concept of a Pokémon world, where humans and Pokémon coexist and collaborate, was born in these ancient times. This era, though shrouded in the mists of deep time, represents the primordial soup from which all subsequent Pokémon history would spring. It's a testament to the enduring power of connection, cooperation, and the boundless potential of life itself. The echoes of these ancient events, the primal roars, the earth-shattering conflicts, and the quiet moments of companionship resonate through every subsequent chapter of the Pokémon timeline, shaping the world we know today. Welcome back to the definitive exploration of the Pokémon timeline. We've journeyed through the cosmic origins and the primordial soup, witnessing the very fabric of existence being woven. Now, as our timeline bar progresses, we arrive at a pivotal era. Thousands of years ago, a period we're calling ancient civilizations and legends. This is when the world truly began to take shape, when the earliest forms of life flourished, and when the foundational myths and legends that defined the Pokémon world were forged. Our story in this ancient epoch begins with the alpha Pokémon itself, Arceus. While its precise origins are shrouded in cosmic mystery, it is during this era that Arceus is widely believed to have consciously intervened in the formation of the Sinnoh region, and by extension, possibly the entire Pokémon world. This belief isn't just folklore, it's deeply ingrained in the mythology of Sinnoh, where ancient texts and archaeological findings consistently point to Arceus as the architect of reality. Imagine, if you will, a being of immense power, existing before time and space as we understand it, now actively sculpting the nascent world. This wasn't a chaotic burst of energy, but a deliberate act of creation, laying down the fundamental principles that would govern existence. Arceus, in its infinite wisdom, didn't merely create matter. It established the very concepts of time and space, the twin pillars upon which all subsequent reality would rest. From this singular, omnipotent being, the first manifestations of these fundamental concepts emerged: Dialga and Palkia. Dialga, the temporal Pokémon, was born to embody the flow of time itself. Every tick of a clock, every sunrise and sunset, every moment that passes from past to future is a testament to Dialga's power. It is said that Dialga's roar can distort time, accelerating or slowing it, or even stopping it altogether. Its very presence ensures that the universe progresses in an orderly fashion, a constant march forward. Complementing Dialga was Palkia, the spatial Pokémon, master of space. Palkia's domain is the vast expanse of the cosmos, the dimensions that define where everything exists. It can warp space, creating new dimensions or shrinking existing ones, and its breath is said to tear holes in the fabric of reality, allowing travel between distant places in an instant. Together, Dialga and Palkia represent the unbreakable continuum of space-time, two sides of the same cosmic coin, ensuring the universe has both a when and a where. However, creation is rarely without its shadows. Alongside Dialga and Palkia, Arceus also brought forth Giratina, the renegade Pokémon. Unlike its brethren, Giratina was not destined for the ordered realms of time and space. Instead, it was banished to the distortion world, a parallel dimension where the laws of physics are inverted, and time and space behave erratically. Giratina's banishment wasn't a punishment for malice, but rather a necessary act to maintain the balance of the nascent universe. Its immense power, if left unchecked in the primary dimension, could have destabilized the delicate equilibrium established by Dialga and Palkia. The distortion world, therefore, serves as both a prison and a vital counterpoint, a realm of antimatter and chaos that prevents the main world from becoming too rigidly defined. Giratina, in its solitary existence, remains a powerful, often misunderstood force, capable of crossing into the main world when the balance is threatened. Arceus's creative impulse didn't stop at the grand cosmic forces. To ensure that the burgeoning world would support intelligent life, it then brought forth the Lake Guardians, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. These three mythical Pokémon were imbued with the very essence of consciousness. Uxie, the knowledge Pokémon, bestowed intelligence and wisdom upon living beings. It is said that merely gazing into Uxie's eyes can erase all memories, but its true purpose was to awaken the capacity for learning and understanding. Mesprit, the emotion Pokémon, gifted the world with feelings: joy, sorrow, anger, love. Without Mesprit, life would be a sterile existence, devoid of the complex tapestry of emotions that drive action and forge connections. Azelf, the willpower Pokémon, instilled determination and strength of will. It is the spark that ignites ambition, the resolve that pushes through adversity, and the courage to face the unknown. These three beings, often found slumbering at the bottom of Sinnoh's three great lakes, are not just symbols, but active forces, continuously radiating their respective gifts, shaping the very nature of conscious existence. Their creation marks a significant step towards a world capable of supporting complex societies and individual growth. As the fundamental forces and conscious principles were established, the physical world itself underwent dramatic transformations. Enter Regigigas, the colossal Pokémon, a being of immense physical power and ancient origin. It is said that Regigigas, in a monumental feat of strength that defies modern understanding, pulled the continents together. Imagine the sheer force required to shift entire land masses, to sculpt mountains, carve valleys, and define the coastlines that we recognize today. This wasn't a gentle drifting, but a powerful, deliberate act of geological engineering on a scale that dwarfs any human endeavor. Regigigas shaped the very face of the planet, creating the distinct land masses that would eventually host diverse ecosystems and, later, human civilizations. Its actions were foundational, setting the stage for the geographical diversity that characterizes the Pokémon world. To aid in this colossal task, or perhaps as extensions of its own power, Regigigas created the legendary golems, Regirock, Regis, and Registeel. These three Pokémon are unique in their composition, each embodying a specific natural material. Regirock, forged from rock, represents the unyielding strength of the earth. Its body is said to be impervious to most attacks, a testament to its raw durability. Regis, crafted from ice, embodies the chilling power of glaciers and frozen landscapes. Its body is colder than any known substance, capable of freezing anything it touches. Registeel, made of an unknown, enigmatic metal, symbolizes the resilience and hardness of artificial constructs. Yet it possesses a natural, ancient aura. These golems are not merely powerful Pokémon. They are guardians, silent sentinels, whose very existence is tied to the natural world. Some legends suggest they were created to protect specific regions or resources, while others believe they were living tools, assisting Regigigas in its world-shaping endeavors. Their presence marks an era where powerful beings directly influenced the physical geography of the planet, leaving behind monumental evidence of their work. But even with the continents formed, the world was still a raw, untamed place. The elements themselves were yet to find their balance. This brings us to the primordial conflict between Kyogre and Groudon. Kyogre, the sea basin Pokémon, emerged from the depths, a colossal creature capable of expanding the seas. Its very presence brought forth torrential rains and tidal waves, covering vast swathes of land with water. Groudon, the continent Pokémon, rose from the Earth's core, a titan of magma and rock, capable of expanding the land. Its emergence caused droughts and volcanic eruptions, pushing back the encroaching oceans and creating new land masses. This wasn't a mere territorial dispute. It was a fundamental clash of elemental forces, a struggle for dominance between land and sea that threatened to tear the nascent world apart. Their battle was cataclysmic, reshaping the planet with every devastating blow. Entire ecosystems were destroyed, and the very stability of the world hung in the balance as these ancient titans waged their war. The sheer scale of this conflict, the potential for total annihilation, necessitated intervention. From the ozone layer, a realm far above the Earth where no other Pokémon was known to reside, descended Rayquaza, the sky-high Pokémon. Rayquaza, with its majestic serpentine form and immense power, acted as the arbiter of this elemental war. It descended from its celestial abode not to join either side, but to quell the destructive battle between Kyogre and Groudon. Its power was so immense that it was able to force both titans into a deep slumber, bringing an end to their primordial conflict and restoring a fragile peace to the world. Rayquaza's intervention established it as the guardian of the skies and the balancer of nature, a force that ensures no single elemental power dominates entirely. Its descent and subsequent pacification of Kyogre and Groudon is a cornerstone of Pokémon mythology, a testament to the power of balance and the emergence of a protector for the natural world. Amidst these grand, world-shaping events, the first whispers of intelligent life began to stir. The unknown, enigmatic Pokémon resembling ancient hieroglyphs are often depicted in ancient ruins. Their existence during this era is suggested by their presence in archaeological sites, particularly within the mysterious Solocean ruins in Sinnoh. These ruins depict the unknown not just as creatures, but as symbols, hinting at their deep connection to human consciousness, and perhaps even language itself. The unknown are said to have the power to influence reality, based on the thoughts and emotions of those around them, suggesting a symbiotic relationship with early humans. Their depictions in ancient art imply that early civilizations recognized their unique nature, perhaps even attempting to harness their power or understand their cryptic messages. The Unknown's presence in this period signifies the dawn of a new kind of interaction between Pokémon and the nascent human race, one that transcends mere survival and ventures into the realm of shared consciousness and symbolic meaning. Indeed, it is during this ancient era that the first humans begin to appear and interact with Pokémon. These early societies were not the technologically advanced civilizations we see in the modern Pokémon world, but rather tribal communities, living in harmony, or sometimes in conflict, with the powerful creatures that shared their environment. Pokémon were not just wild animals, they were partners, protectors, and sometimes formidable adversaries. Early humans learned to coexist, to hunt alongside certain Pokémon, to use others for transportation, and to respect the power of the legendary beings that shaped their world. This period saw the formation of the very first bonds between humans and Pokémon, laying the groundwork for the deep connection that defines the entire franchise. These interactions weren't just practical, they were spiritual, with Pokémon often revered as deities or spirits of nature, influencing the beliefs and customs of these nascent human cultures. However, as human societies grew and developed, so too did the potential for conflict. Wars driven by territorial disputes, resource scarcity, or ideological differences began to emerge. It was in this tumultuous period that the Swords of Justice, Cobalion, Terrakion, Virizion, and later Keldeo, rose to prominence. These legendary Pokémon are revered for their unwavering commitment to protecting both Pokémon and humans from the ravages of war. Cobalion, the Iron Will Pokémon, is the leader, known for its calm demeanor and steely resolve. Terrakion, the Cavern Pokémon, possesses immense physical strength, capable of breaking through fortifications. Virizion, the Grassland Pokémon, is swift and agile, capable of moving through battlefields with grace. Keldeo, the Colt Pokémon, is the youngest and most impetuous, but equally dedicated to justice. They intervened in human conflicts, not by taking sides, but by defending the innocent and attempting to de-escalate violence. Their legend speaks of their ability to inspire courage and protect the vulnerable, embodying a profound moral code that transcends species. Their actions highlight a recurring theme in the Pokémon world, the inherent desire for peace and the devastating impact of unchecked conflict. One such devastating conflict, perhaps the most impactful of this ancient era, occurred in the Kalos region. This war, whose specific details are lost to the mists of time, was so brutal and prolonged that it threatened to consume everything. Driven by the anguish of losing his beloved Floette in this war, the Kalosian king Az, a figure shrouded in tragedy and immense power, made a desperate and ultimately catastrophic decision. He constructed the ultimate weapon, a device of unimaginable destructive capability. His intention was not conquest, but resurrection. He sought to bring his Floette back to life, to defy the finality of death itself. The ultimate weapon, powered by the life force of countless Pokémon, achieved its immediate goal. Az's Floette was revived. This act, however, came at an unimaginable cost. The weapon's activation unleashed a devastating energy pulse that not only ended the war in an instant, but also caused widespread destruction and suffering. It was a moment that forever scarred the Kalos region and left an indelible mark on the world. The consequences of Az's desperate act were profound and personal. While his Floette was indeed revived, the ultimate weapon's immense power also cursed Az with eternal life. He became an immortal wanderer, forever separated from his beloved Pokémon, who, horrified by the weapon's true nature and the countless lives sacrificed, abandoned him. Az's tragic tale is a poignant reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the devastating consequences of grief. He was doomed to walk the earth for millennia, a living testament to a war that should never have been, and a desperate act that brought both salvation and eternal sorrow. His story is a powerful narrative thread that weaves through the ancient history of the Pokémon world, a warning etched into the very fabric of time. This complex interplay of creation, conflict, and the emergence of human civilization marks a period of immense change and the forging of many of the legends that continue to resonate in the Pokémon world today. We've seen the very foundations of reality laid, the physical world sculpted, and the first stirrings of complex life and human society. But this is just the beginning of the ancient civilizations and legends era. There's much more to uncover about the powerful beings and pivotal events that shaped this fascinating period. Join us again as we continue our journey through this ancient tapestry of myth and history. The echoes of this primordial conflict resonate through the ages, shaping the very fabric of the Unwinding region. From the colossal void left by the original dragon's sundering emerges Kurem, a chilling embodiment of absence, of the raw, untamed power that remained when ideals and truths diverged. Kurem, a dragon and ice-type Pokémon, is often depicted as a hollow, incomplete being, perpetually seeking the fragments of itself that became Reshiram and Zekrom. Its existence is a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of the ancient war, a frozen testament to the original dragon's lost unity. Legends whisper that Kurem's body, a colossal, skeletal form, lacks the warmth and vitality of its separated counterparts, instead radiating an oppressive cold that can freeze anything in its path. It is a creature of immense power, but also of profound loneliness, forever bound to the memory of its fractured past. The tales of Unova speak of Kurem as a force of nature, capable of manipulating extreme temperatures and creating blizzards that blanket the land. Its raw power, untempered by the guiding principles of ideals or truths, makes it a formidable and often feared entity in the region's folklore. Meanwhile, in the Johto region, a catastrophic event forever alters the fate of 3 ordinary Pokémon. The May Brass Tower, a magnificent structure in Ecruteak City, is engulfed in a raging inferno, a tragedy that claims the lives of 3 unnamed Pokémon trapped within its burning embrace. However, from the ashes of this devastation, a divine intervention occurs. Hokard, the rainbow Pokémon, a legendary flying and fire type, descends from the heavens, its iridescent wings shimmering with otherworldly light. With a benevolent act of resurrection, Ho-Oh breathes new life into the fallen, transforming them into the legendary beasts. Raikou, the electric type, a swift and powerful embodiment of lightning. Entei, the fire type, a courageous and fiery Pokémon said to be born from volcanic eruptions. And Suicune, the water type, a graceful and pure Pokémon capable of purifying water. Each of these beasts carries a piece of the Brass Tower's legacy, their forms and powers reflecting the elements that raged within the fire. Raikou's thunderous roar is said to echo the lightning strike that ignited the tower. Entei's fiery breath is a constant reminder of the inferno itself, and Suicune's purifying waters symbolize the efforts to extinguish the flames. These 3 Pokémon are forever linked to Ho-Oh, serving as its emissaries and guardians, their appearances often heralded by the sight of the rainbow Pokémon itself. Following this miraculous act, Ho-Oh embarks on a perpetual journey across the skies, its vibrant plumage a beacon of hope and joy. Legends across the Johto region, and indeed the wider Pokémon world, speak of Ho-Oh's feathers bringing happiness to those who witness them. Its flight is not merely a physical act, but a symbolic one, representing renewal, rebirth, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The sight of Ho-Oh, a rare and awe-inspiring spectacle, is believed to bestow good fortune and a sense of profound peace upon those fortunate enough to behold it. Its presence is often associated with the balance of nature and the cycle of life and death, a testament to its ancient wisdom and immense power. The legend of the rainbow wing, a single feather shed by Ho-Oh, is particularly potent, said to grant access to its sacred dwelling place, the Bell Tower, and allow a trainer to challenge this magnificent creature. While Ho-Oh soars above, another powerful legendary Pokémon, Lugia, the diving Pokémon, holds dominion over the deep. Often referred to as the guardian of the seas, Lugia is said to reside in the depths of the ocean, its immense power capable of calming or stirring the most ferocious storms. Lore suggests that Lugia created the 3 legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. Articuno, the freeze Pokémon, embodies the serene beauty of ice and snow, ruling over frigid landscapes. Zapdos, the electric Pokémon, controls thunder and lightning, soaring through stormy skies. Moltres, the flame Pokémon, represents the destructive and creative power of fire, dwelling in volcanic regions. These 3 elemental titans, though powerful in their own right, are believed to be subservient to Lugia, acting as extensions of its will and maintaining the balance of their respective domains. Their occasional clashes, fueled by their elemental natures, are said to be quelled by Lugia's intervention, demonstrating its superior authority and ability to restore harmony. Lugia's deep-sea dwelling, often depicted as a hidden sanctuary, further emphasizes its mysterious and ethereal nature, a silent guardian of the world's vast oceans. In a tranquil corner of the Johto region, nestled within a network of canals and ancient architecture, lies the ancient city of Alto Mare. This picturesque city, renowned for its annual water festival and its unique blend of traditional and advanced technology, thrives under the benevolent protection of two extraordinary dragon and psychic-type Pokémon, Latias and Latios. These Eon Pokémon, siblings with a deep connection, possess the ability to cloak themselves from human sight and communicate telepathically. Their role as guardians is not merely symbolic. They actively safeguard the city from external threats, often appearing as fleeting, shimmering forms in the sky or gliding effortlessly through the waterways. The heart of Altomare's protection lies in the Soul Dew, a mystical orb that contains the essence of a deceased Latios. This artifact, carefully preserved within the city's secret garden, amplifies the powers of Latias and Latios, ensuring the city's continued prosperity and safety. The legends of Altomare speak of the Eon Pokémon's unwavering dedication to their home, their bond with the city's inhabitants, and their willingness to sacrifice for its well-being. As civilizations flourished and legendary Pokémon shaped the world, a new societal structure began to emerge, one centered around the interaction between humans and Pokémon. In the Sanakanto region, the first Pokémon League is established, a pivotal moment that marks a new era of trainers and organized competition. This groundbreaking institution provides a structured framework for trainers to hone their skills, challenge powerful opponents, and ultimately prove their mastery over Pokémon. The Pokémon League, with its Elite Four and champion, becomes the ultimate aspiration for aspiring trainers, a symbol of dedication, perseverance, and the strong bond between humans and their Pokémon partners. This establishment not only fosters friendly rivalry, but also promotes the ethical treatment of Pokémon, encouraging trainers to develop deep connections with their companions rather than simply viewing them as tools for battle. The Kanto Pokémon League sets a precedent for similar organizations across other regions, laying the foundation for the global phenomenon of Pokémon training and competitive battling. Far from the bustling Kanto League, in a secluded and mystical part of the world, existed the ancient civilization of the people of the water. This enigmatic society, deeply connected to the ocean and its inhabitants, built magnificent temples dedicated to the legendary sea-dweller Pokémon, Manaphy. Manaphy, a water type, is known for its ability to swap the hearts of Pokémon and for its ethereal beauty. The people of the water revered Manaphy as a sacred deity, believing it to be the guardian of the sea and the source of life within the ocean. Their temples, often submerged or partially underwater, were intricate structures adorned with carvings depicting Manaphy and its offspring, Phione. Their culture revolved around the rhythms of the ocean, their lives intertwined with the ebb and flow of the tides. They understood the delicate balance of the marine ecosystem and dedicated themselves to its preservation, guided by their reverence for Manaphy. Central to the culture of the people of the water was the creation of the relic song. This ancient melody, a hauntingly beautiful and powerful tune, was believed to possess mystical properties, capable of calming turbulent waters, communicating with marine Pokémon, and even awakening dormant powers. The relic song was not merely a piece of music, it was a living tradition, passed down through generations of the people of the water, each generation adding their own nuances and interpretations while preserving its core essence. It served as a historical record, a spiritual guide, and a powerful tool, its notes carrying the wisdom and stories of their ancestors. The song's connection to Manaphy was profound. It was said that only those with a pure heart and a deep understanding of the ocean could truly master its intricacies and unlock its full potential. The relic song became a symbol of their enduring legacy, a testament to their deep spiritual connection with the world around them. In a stark contrast to the harmonious existence of the people of the water, another ancient civilization met a more tragic end. The ancient city of Pokémopolis, a once thriving metropolis, was utterly destroyed, leaving behind nothing but colossal, enigmatic artifacts. These giant Pokémon artifacts, massive statues and structures depicting legendary Pokémon and unknown creatures, stand as silent sentinels, bearing witness to the city's inexplicable demise. The sheer scale of these relics suggests a civilization with an advanced understanding of Pokémon and perhaps even a unique method of harnessing their power. The cause of Pokémopolis's destruction remains shrouded in mystery, fueling speculation and legends. Some whisper of a cataclysmic battle between colossal Pokémon, others of a devastating natural disaster, or even a technological malfunction of unimaginable proportions. Whatever the cause, the ruins of Pokémopolis serve as a chilling reminder of the destructive forces that can be unleashed when ancient powers are tampered with a testament to the impermanence of even the most advanced civilizations. Further enhancing the mystique of the ancient world is the legend of the giant rock and its connection to the tree of beginning. This colossal crystalline structure, often depicted as a source of immense power, is believed to be intrinsically linked to the very genesis of life and the natural world. The tree of beginning, a mythical location said to be the origin point of all life on Earth, is protected by the giant rock, which acts as both a shield and a conduit for its life-giving energy. The giant rock is not merely a geological formation, it is a sentient entity, capable of defending itself and its charge with formidable power. Legends suggest that its crystalline structure absorbs and amplifies the life force emanating from the tree of beginning, creating a self-sustaining ecosystem of unparalleled biodiversity. The lore surrounding the giant rock speaks of its ability to repair itself, to generate new life forms, and to maintain the delicate balance of nature. Its existence underscores the profound connection between the ancient world's geological wonders and its legendary Pokémon, hinting at a time when the Earth itself was imbued with conscious power. Finally, in a land steeped in chivalry and arcane arts, the ancient kingdom of Rota exists, with its aura guardians protecting the land. This kingdom, characterized by its majestic castle and its deep respect for tradition, is home to a unique lineage of individuals known as aura guardians. These guardians possess the extraordinary ability to manipulate aura, a mystical energy that flows through all living things and the environment itself. Aura allows them to sense emotions, communicate telepathically with Pokémon, and even unleash powerful attacks. The Aura Guardians are not merely warriors. They are philosophers, healers, and protectors, dedicated to maintaining peace and harmony within the kingdom and beyond. Their training involves rigorous spiritual and physical discipline, allowing them to fully harness their innate abilities. The Kingdom of Rota's history is intertwined with the legends of the Aura Guardians, whose heroic deeds and sacrifices are etched into the very fabric of their society. Their legacy, passed down through generations, emphasizes the profound connection between humans and Pokémon, not just through battle, but through a shared understanding of the life force that binds them all. The Aura Guardians stand as a testament to the ancient world's profound understanding of the natural and mystical energies that permeate the Pokémon universe. Transitioning from the grand epochs of ancient civilizations and the genesis of legendary beings, we now shift our focus to a period of profound transformation. The unfounding of regions and early human-Pokémon interaction. This era, unfolding roughly 400 years ago, marks a pivotal juncture in the Pokémon world's history, where the fundamental relationship between humanity and Pokémon began to coalesce into the forms we recognize today. It was a time when scattered human populations, having survived the cataclysms and developed rudimentary societies, started to truly settle and establish permanent communities across the diverse landscapes of the burgeoning regions. As humanity spread, these early human tribes initiated a more intensive and intimate interaction with the wild Pokémon that shared their territories. No longer merely observers or occasional prey, humans began to view Pokémon as integral parts of their evolving societies. This period saw the development of rudimentary tools and hunting techniques, often born from necessity and ingenuity. Crucially, these innovations frequently involved a nascent form of cooperation with certain Pokémon species. Imagine early human hunters, perhaps in the frigid northern reaches, learning to work alongside powerful ice-type Pokémon like Beartic or Mamoswine to track and corner larger game, or utilizing the keen senses of electric-type Pokémon such as Luxray to navigate dense forests at night. This wasn't yet training in the modern sense, but a symbiotic relationship, a mutual understanding forged through shared survival. Humans offered protection from larger threats or provided specific resources, while Pokémon lent their unique abilities to enhance human endeavors. These early partnerships laid the groundwork for the complex dynamics that would define the future of human-Pokémon coexistence. It was during this time that the first known instances of humans actively attempting to communicate and bond with Pokémon for mutual benefit truly emerged. This wasn't just about utility, it was about understanding. Early shamans, tribal elders, or particularly empathetic individuals began to observe Pokémon behaviors, interpret their calls, and even experiment with offerings or gestures of peace. These pioneering efforts were driven by a profound recognition that Pokémon were not just beasts of burden or dangerous adversaries, but sentient beings capable of forming deep connections. The benefits were manifold. A well-bonded Pokémon could warn of danger, assist in gathering food, or even provide warmth and companionship. This nascent understanding of communication transcended mere instinct, hinting at the potential for a shared language and a deeper, more meaningful interspecies relationship. As these communities grew and stabilized, so too did their cultural narratives. Legends and myths surrounding powerful, often benevolent, legendary Pokémon began to form within different human cultures, reflecting their unique environments and experiences. These weren't abstract tales from a forgotten past, but living stories passed down orally, explaining natural phenomena, guiding moral conduct, and instilling a sense of awe and reverence for the extraordinary beings that shaped their world. For instance, tales of a colossal Pokémon shaping mountains or a radiant creature bringing forth the sun would have been woven into the very fabric of daily life, influencing everything from tribal rituals to artistic expressions. These myths served not only as entertainment, but as early forms of historical record and spiritual guidance, cementing the legendary Pokémon's place at the apex of their worldview. A prime example of this emerging reverence can be found in the Sinnoh region, where the majestic Nidspear Pillar became revered as a sacred site, specifically for communicating with legendary Pokémon. This ancient ruin, perched atop Mount Coronet, was not just a geological formation. It was understood to be a nexus, a thin place where the veil between the mundane and the divine was thinnest. Early Sinnohan peoples would undertake arduous pilgrimages to the Spear Pillar, believing that here they could commune directly with beings like Dialga, the master of time, or Palkia, the master of space, or even Arceus, the alpha Pokémon itself. Such pilgrimages would involve elaborate rituals, offerings, and meditations, all designed to show respect and seek guidance or blessings from these cosmic entities. The very act of journeying to the Spear Pillar reinforced the belief in the legendaries' power and their profound influence over the world. This period also saw the establishment of early forms of Pokémon worship and reverence, moving beyond simple storytelling to formalized spiritual practices. Certain Pokémon were indeed seen as deities or protectors, embodying specific aspects of nature or human existence. In some cultures, a powerful Groudon might be worshipped as the creator of land, while Kyogre was revered as the bringer of oceans. Smaller but equally vital, Pokémon might be seen as guardians of specific resources. A group of Tropius might be honored for providing sustenance, or a clan of Arcanine for their unwavering loyalty and protective instincts. These acts of worship could range from simple daily prayers and offerings to elaborate seasonal festivals, all designed to appease, honor, and seek the favor of these revered Pokémon. This deep spiritual connection underscored the profound impact Pokémon had on human psychology and social structure. Concurrently, the seeds of future urban centers were being sown. In the verdant lands of the Johto region, the iconic Ecruteak City was founded during this era. Unlike many settlements that grew organically from agricultural hubs, Ecruteak City's very genesis was intertwined with the spiritual beliefs of its founders. It was not merely a place to live, but a place to worship, to connect with the divine. The city quickly became a spiritual and cultural heartland, renowned for its ancient traditions and its deep respect for Pokémon. The most striking architectural achievements of early Ecruteak City, the Bell Tower and the Brass Tower, were not just feats of engineering. They were direct manifestations of this burgeoning Pokémon worship, specifically inspired by the legendary Pokémon Arthwa, Ho-Oh, and Erb Lugia. The Bell Tower, also known as the Tin Tower, was said to be Ho-Oh's roost, a place where the magnificent rainbow Pokémon would descend, showering blessings upon the land. Its elegant design and soaring height were meant to evoke Ho-Oh's grace and majesty. Conversely, the Brass Tower, a structure of equal grandeur, was believed to be the dwelling of Lugia, the guardian of the seas. Its sturdy construction and strategic location likely reflected Lugia's power and its role in bringing calm to the turbulent waters. These towers were not just buildings, they were sacred monuments, testaments to the profound influence of legendary Pokémon on human civilization. Pilgrims would travel from far and wide to witness these architectural marvels and to pay homage to the legendaries they represented, further solidifying Ecruteak City's status as a spiritual nexus. However, this period of settlement and interaction was not without its challenges. As human populations expanded and encroached upon wild territories, early conflicts inevitably arose between human settlements and powerful wild Pokémon. These weren't always malicious attacks. Sometimes it was a territorial dispute with a rampaging Gyarados, or a defensive action against a pack of aggressive Mightyena protecting their young. Regardless of the cause, these conflicts were often devastating for early human communities, leading to the development of rudimentary defensive strategies. This could involve constructing palisades, digging moats, or even developing specific alarm systems using sound-sensitive Pokémon like Exploud. These defensive measures were crucial for survival and demonstrated humanity's growing capacity to adapt and innovate in the face of adversity, further shaping the relationship between species. It was out of this crucible of cooperation, worship, and conflict that a new specialization began to emerge within human societies. Some individuals, possessing an innate understanding of Pokémon behavior, exceptional empathy, or perhaps a unique courage, began to specialize in understanding and taming Pokémon. These early pioneers were the nascent trainers, or keepers. They were the ones who could soothe a frightened Pokémon, understand the motivations behind an aggressive one, or discern the subtle cues that indicated a Pokémon's willingness to cooperate. They weren't just hunters or spiritual leaders, they were intermediaries, bridging the gap between the human and Pokémon worlds. Their skills were invaluable, whether in negotiating peace with a territorial Pokémon, assisting in defense against a threat, or helping to integrate a cooperative Pokémon into daily life. These early trainers, through trial and error, through observation and dedication, began to unlock the true potential of the human-Pokémon bond, setting the stage for the formalized training and battling that would define later eras. Their legacy, though unrecorded in specific names, is etched into the very fabric of the Pokémon world, a testament to the enduring power of connection and understanding. This burgeoning societal structure, however, was still largely decentralized. While communities thrived, a unifying framework for human-Pokémon interaction was yet to fully materialize. That changed dramatically with a pivotal development: the establishment of the first Pokémon League. It was in the Kanto region, a land already rich in both natural beauty and a growing population, that this groundbreaking institution took root. This wasn't merely a casual gathering, but a formal organization designed to standardize and elevate the practice of Pokémon training and battling. The Kanto Pokémon League, in its nascent form, signaled a profound shift from the often informal, survival-driven interactions of the past to a more structured, almost academic approach to understanding and utilizing the unique abilities of these creatures. Prior to this, Pokémon battles, while undoubtedly occurring, were likely spontaneous, perhaps even brutal affairs driven by necessity or simple displays of dominance. The League, however, began to formalize these early forms of combat. It introduced rules, expectations, and a sense of sportsmanship that elevated battling beyond mere survival. This wasn't just about taming a powerful creature, but about honing its skills, understanding its strengths and weaknesses, and engaging in a strategic dance with an opponent. This formalization transformed battling into a competitive display of skill, a true art form where the bond between trainer and Pokémon and the intelligence of both were paramount. The establishment of the League provided a structured pathway for aspiring trainers to test their mettle, to prove their worth, and to climb a hierarchy of recognized achievement. It fostered a culture of dedication and improvement, where trainers strived not just to win, but to master the intricate dynamics of Pokémon combat. This was a crucial step in defining the very essence of what it meant to be a Pokémon trainer. To facilitate this structured competition, a new concept emerged: the gym leader, or similar authoritative figures. These individuals, often powerful trainers themselves, were designated to test the strength and skill of aspiring challengers. They served as benchmarks, guardians of specific challenges, and mentors to those seeking to advance within the League's ranks. While the specific titles and structures may have varied in these early days, the core idea was consistent: a series of trials, each overseen by a formidable opponent, culminating in the ultimate test of the League itself. These gym leaders, though perhaps not yet operating out of the elaborate gym buildings we know today, were crucial in establishing a progressive system of challenge and reward, pushing trainers to continually improve and diversify their strategies. They represented the pinnacle of regional training expertise, embodying the specific challenges and Pokémon types prevalent in their respective areas. This system not only provided a clear path for trainers, but also fostered a sense of community and friendly rivalry, as trainers would share strategies and experiences on their journey to conquer each gym. Yet, even with formalized battling and gym leaders, the process of acquiring and managing Pokémon remained relatively rudimentary. Trapping a wild Pokémon often involved considerable effort, skill, and sometimes even danger. This bottleneck in human-Pokémon interaction was dramatically alleviated by another revolutionary invention, the first Pokeballs. These ingenious devices, initially crude and perhaps even handcrafted, allowed for the easier capture and training of Pokémon. No longer did a trainer need to rely solely on their own physical prowess or the direct subjugation of a wild creature. The Pokeball offered a more efficient, safer, and ultimately more humane method of bringing a Pokémon into one's care. The development of Pokeballs fundamentally revolutionized human-Pokémon interaction. It democratized the process of taming, making it accessible to a much broader segment of the population. Before Pokeballs, only the most skilled, brave, or perhaps even ruthless individuals could reliably capture and train powerful Pokémon. With the advent of these devices, even a novice could, with some effort, begin their journey as a trainer. This accessibility led to an explosion in the number of trainers, fostering a deeper, more widespread connection between humans and Pokémon. It allowed for greater specialization, as trainers could more easily acquire Pokémon suited to various tasks, from farming and construction to exploration and, of course, battling. The Pokeball became an iconic symbol of the trainer's journey, representing both the potential for powerful partnerships and the responsibility that came with them. It was a technological leap that redefined the very nature of human-Pokémon coexistence, transforming it from a often challenging, sometimes adversarial relationship into a more collaborative and integrated one. This innovation not only streamlined the training process, but also opened up new avenues for research into Pokémon behavior and biology, as scientists could now more easily study captured specimens. The convenience of Pokeballs also meant that trainers could carry multiple Pokémon with them, leading to the development of strategic team compositions and the concept of a balanced roster, further enriching the complexity of Pokémon battles. As communities grew and the interaction with Pokémon became more sophisticated, the isolation of individual settlements began to wane. Early trade routes and cultural exchanges started to form between different human regions. These routes, sometimes perilous and often long, were not just for the exchange of goods, but also for the sharing of knowledge, traditions, and, crucially, Pokémon. A Kanto farmer might trade his surplus crops for exotic berries from a distant land, and in doing so, might also introduce his regional Pokémon to a new population, or acquire a Pokémon previously unknown in his home territory. These exchanges facilitated a broader understanding of global Pokémon diversity and the unique ecological niches they occupied. They also led to the intermingling of human cultures, enriching both with new perspectives and practices. The movement of Pokémon across these early trade routes also had a profound impact on the genetic diversity of various species, as populations that were once isolated began to interbreed, leading to new variations and adaptations. This early form of globalization, driven by both necessity and curiosity, laid the groundwork for the vast interconnected world we see in later eras. It also meant that the challenges faced by trainers became more diverse, as they encountered Pokémon from different environments with unique abilities and characteristics that required new strategies to overcome. With more diverse Pokémon being encountered and trained, the informal knowledge about their characteristics began to consolidate. The understanding of Pokémon types and their strengths and weaknesses, once anecdotal and localized, started to be documented and passed down. Early scholars and naturalists, perhaps the precursors to modern Pokémon professors, meticulously observed and recorded the interactions between different species. They noted how a water-type Pokémon might douse a fire-type's flames, or how a flying type could evade a ground-type's attacks. This systematic cataloging of elemental affinities and combat dynamics was a monumental undertaking. It moved beyond simple observation to the development of a rudimentary scientific framework for understanding the natural world of Pokémon. This knowledge was crucial for trainers, providing them with the strategic insights needed to excel in battles and to better care for their Pokémon. It was shared through oral traditions, early scrolls, and perhaps even rudimentary diagrams, slowly forming the bedrock of what would become the extensive type chart we recognize today. This documentation not only benefited trainers, but also contributed to a deeper appreciation of the intricate ecological balance within the Pokémon world, highlighting the interconnectedness of all life forms. The systematic study of types also led to the development of specialized training methods, as trainers began to focus on maximizing the potential of specific elemental abilities, further enhancing the strategic depth of Pokémon battles. These efforts, from the establishment of the League to the documentation of type advantages, laid the foundations of modern Pokémon research and study. The early scholars and naturalists, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a desire to understand the world around them, were the pioneers of this intellectual endeavor. They were the first to systematically observe, classify, and theorize about Pokémon behavior, biology, and their interactions with the environment. Their work, though perhaps lacking the rigorous scientific methodology of later eras, was nevertheless groundbreaking. They established the principles of observation, data collection, and analysis that would be refined and expanded upon by generations of researchers. These early figures weren't just collecting facts, they were building a framework for understanding an entirely new field of study. Their foundational texts, though likely simple and perhaps even mythological in their presentation, served as the initial textbooks for aspiring researchers and trainers alike. They ignited a passion for discovery that would fuel centuries of scientific advancement in the Pokémon world, leading to the development of Pokédexes, advanced breeding techniques, and a comprehensive understanding of Pokémon evolution. This era, therefore, was not just about the physical establishment of regions and the practicalities of human-Pokémon interaction, but also about the intellectual awakening that accompanied it, the beginning of a systematic quest to unravel the mysteries of these incredible creatures. The meticulous records kept by these early researchers, detailing everything from migration patterns to dietary habits, provided invaluable insights that continue to inform Pokémon science to this day, demonstrating the enduring legacy of their pioneering work. Their contributions were not merely academic. They directly impacted the lives of trainers, farmers, and everyday citizens, making the world a safer, more predictable, and ultimately more harmonious place for both humans and Pokémon. And so, after centuries of gradual societal development and the establishment of distinct regional identities, we arrive at a pivotal moment in the Pokémon world's history. The modern era, specifically the period around 1996, which marks the beginning of the Kanto and Johto sagas. This era, while seemingly recent, is foundational to understanding the contemporary Pokémon universe, as it chronicles the rise of the Pokémon trainer as a recognized profession and the formalization of the Pokémon League Challenge. It's here that the familiar narrative of a young individual embarking on a journey to become a Pokémon champion truly takes hold. Our story begins in the tranquil, unassuming settlement of Pallet Town, a small community nestled in the Kanto region. Here, a young, aspiring trainer, whose name would become synonymous with heroism and achievement, sets out on a journey that would forever alter the course of their life, and, in many ways, the Pokémon world itself. This journey wasn't merely a personal quest for glory, but an expedition into the heart of what it means to coexist and bond with these incredible creatures. Central to this initiation is the venerable Professor Samuel Oak, a renowned Pokémon researcher and the leading authority on Pokémon in the Kanto region. It is Professor Oak who, in a time-honored tradition, entrusts the young trainer with their very first Pokémon, a starter Pokémon chosen from a selection of 3 distinct species: the grass-type Bulbasaur, the fire-type Charmander, or the water-type Squirtle. This choice, seemingly simple, often defines a trainer's initial approach to battles and their strategic development. Alongside this crucial companion, Professor Oak also provides a cutting-edge device known as the Pokédex. This electronic encyclopedia, far more than just a data repository, serves as a comprehensive tool designed to automatically record information on any Pokémon encountered. The professor's charge is clear: to travel the length and breadth of Kanto, documenting every single Pokémon species, thereby contributing invaluable data to the scientific community and expanding humanity's understanding of these diverse creatures. This task, while seemingly academic, underpins the entire journey, providing a purpose beyond just battling and collecting. However, our protagonist is not alone in their ambition. From the very outset, a fierce and enduring rivalry is established with another young trainer, Professor Oak's own grandson, Blue, or as he is often known, Gary. Blue, a confident and often arrogant individual, also begins his Pokémon journey at the same time, selecting the starter Pokémon with a type advantage over our protagonist's choice. This dynamic creates an immediate competitive tension, as Blue frequently crosses paths with the trainer, challenging them to battles and consistently striving to prove his superiority. These encounters, while often frustrating for our hero, serve as crucial developmental experiences, pushing them to hone their skills and strengthen their bond with their Pokémon. Blue's presence is a constant reminder of the competitive nature of the Pokémon world, a world where skill, strategy, and the strength of one's Pokémon are paramount. As the trainer progresses through Kanto, battling gym leaders and collecting badges, a darker undercurrent begins to emerge. This is the first significant encounter with Team Rocket, a nefarious criminal organization operating covertly throughout the region. Team Rocket, unlike the benevolent goals of the Pokémon League or the scientific pursuits of Professor Oak, is driven by avarice and a ruthless desire for power. Their modus operandi involves the illicit capture and exploitation of rare and powerful Pokémon, often through unethical means, for the sole purpose of financial gain and world domination. Their presence introduces a moral dimension to the trainer's journey, transforming it from a simple quest for self-improvement into a fight against injustice. One of the trainer's earliest and most impactful confrontations with Team Rocket occurs in the mysterious depths of Mount Moon. This ancient cave system, renowned for its shimmering moonstones and unique Pokémon, becomes a target for Team Rocket's schemes. The organization is actively engaged in poaching rare Pokémon from the cave, and, even more disturbingly, attempting to sell invaluable rare fossils, remnants of ancient Pokémon, on the black market. The trainer, witnessing these illicit activities firsthand, is compelled to intervene, battling Team Rocket grunts and ultimately thwarting their immediate plans. This initial victory, though small in the grand scheme, establishes the trainer as a formidable opponent to Team Rocket and solidifies their role as a protector of Pokémon. As the journey continues, the trainer uncovers increasingly alarming details about Team Rocket's ambitions, leading to the chilling discovery of the legendary Pokémon, Mewtwo. This revelation is a testament to the dark depths of Team Rocket's scientific endeavors. Mewtwo, a genetically engineered Pokémon of immense power, was created through horrific experiments, cloning and modifying the DNA of the mythical Pokémon Mew. This act of unnatural creation, driven by a desire to craft the ultimate weapon, highlights the ethical perils of unchecked scientific ambition and the potential for Pokémon to be exploited for destructive purposes. The very existence of Mewtwo serves as a stark warning about the consequences of manipulating nature for selfish gain. The conflict with Team Rocket escalates significantly in Saffron City, the bustling metropolis at the heart of Kanto. Here, Team Rocket executes the audacious plan to seize control of the Sylph Command building, a leading corporation responsible for developing advanced Pokémon technology, including the Master Ball and the Sylph Scope. Their objective is to acquire Sylph Contour's proprietary technology and intellectual property, thereby consolidating their power and furthering their nefarious agenda. The trainer, recognizing the profound implications of Team Rocket's success, infiltrates the heavily guarded building, battling through legions of grunts and high-ranking operatives. In a climactic showdown, the trainer confronts and defeats Giovanni, the enigmatic and ruthless leader of Team Rocket, ultimately foiling their takeover attempt and liberating Sylph Co. This victory is a monumental achievement, crippling Team Rocket's operations in Kanto and preventing them from gaining a stranglehold on vital technological resources. Beyond the human conflicts, the Kanto region is also home to a trio of awe-inspiring legendary Pokémon: Articuno, the majestic ice-flying type, Zapdos, the electrifying electric-flying type, and Moltres, the fiery fire-flying type. These powerful avian Pokémon, each embodying a fundamental element, are encountered in various remote and challenging locations across Kanto. Articuno resides in the frigid Seafoam Islands, Zapdos makes its home in the power plant, and Moltres soars above Victory Road. Encountering and, for many trainers, successfully capturing these legendary beasts is a testament to their skill and determination, representing the pinnacle of Pokémon mastery in the region. These encounters are not mere battles, they are tests of a trainer's ability to respect and understand the immense power of these ancient beings. Having overcome numerous challenges, defeated Team Rocket, and forged powerful bonds with their Pokémon, the trainer finally arrives at the ultimate test of their journey: the Indigo Plateau. This is the hallowed ground where the most skilled trainers compete for the title of Pokémon Champion. To achieve this, the trainer must first conquer the Elite Four, a quartet of exceptionally powerful trainers, each specializing in a specific Pokémon type and possessing unparalleled strategic prowess. After successfully defeating the Elite Four, the trainer faces their final and perhaps most personal challenge: the reigning Pokémon Champion. In a twist of fate and a culmination of their long-standing rivalry, the champion is none other than Blue, who had managed to reach the pinnacle of the Pokémon League just moments before our protagonist. The ensuing battle is a legendary clash, a testament to years of training, dedication, and the unbreakable bond between trainer and Pokémon. The victor emerges as the new Pokémon champion, etching their name into the annals of Kanto's history. The Kanto journey, with its triumphs and tribulations, concludes with the trainer achieving the highest honor. However, the Pokémon world is vast and ever-evolving. 3 years after the momentous events in Kanto, a new chapter begins, shifting our focus to the neighboring Johto region. In the peaceful New Bark town, another aspiring trainer embarks on their own Pokémon journey, mirroring the path taken by their Kanto predecessor. This new adventure, set against the backdrop of Johto's unique culture and diverse Pokémon, signifies the ongoing cycle of discovery, challenge, and growth that defines the Pokémon universe. It's a testament to the enduring appeal of the Pokémon journey, a narrative that continues to inspire new generations of trainers to explore, battle, and bond with these incredible creatures. This transition highlights the interconnectedness of the regions and the continuous flow of history within the Pokémon world, setting the stage for new legends to be forged. The trainer's journey through Johto begins in earnest as Professor Elm, a leading authority on Pokémon evolution, entrusts them with their first Pokémon partner and a critical scientific mission: to investigate a mysterious Pokémon egg discovered by Elm's associate, Mr. Pokémon. This egg, a harbinger of new discoveries, represents the cutting edge of Pokémon research in the modern era. However, this promising start is immediately complicated by the appearance of a mysterious red-haired individual, a fierce rival whose ambition and disregard for others are immediately apparent. This rival, whose name is never explicitly stated in the games but is widely known as Silver, wastes no time in demonstrating his true colors, brazenly stealing one of Professor Elm's starter Pokémon from his lab. This act of theft sets the stage for a recurring conflict, with Silver serving as a dark mirror to the trainer's own journey, driven by a desire for power and a disdain for weakness, a stark contrast to the budding bond between trainer and Pokémon that the player embodies. As the trainer progresses, they quickly discover that the shadow of past conflicts looms large over the Johto region. Team Rocket, the criminal organization that once terrorized Kanto under the leadership of Giovanni, has not truly vanished. Though officially disbanded after their defeat by Red, the previous Kanto champion, a determined remnant of the organization, still loyal to Giovanni, has begun to reform and revive their nefarious operations within Johto. Their initial efforts are small-scale but insidious, focusing on exploiting Pokémon for profit. Their first major scheme involves the Slowpoke, a docile water psychic-type Pokémon known for its vacant expression and the deliciousness of its tails. In Azalea Town, Team Rocket agents are found cruelly severing Slowpoke tails to sell them as a delicacy, a testament to their callous disregard for Pokémon welfare. The trainer, witnessing this exploitation firsthand, intervenes decisively, thwarting Team Rocket's cruel scheme and liberating the Slowpoke, earning the gratitude of the town and signaling to the resurgent organization that their illicit activities will not go unchallenged. This early victory establishes the trainer as a formidable opponent to Team Rocket, setting the stage for a series of increasingly significant confrontations. The natural world of Johto also presents its own challenges and mysteries. During their travels, the trainer encounters the legendary beasts Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. These 3 majestic Pokémon, embodying lightning, fire, and water respectively, roam freely across the Johto region, their movements unpredictable, and their power immense. Their existence is intrinsically linked to a tragic event known as the Burned Tower Incident, which occurred years prior in Ecruteak City. The tale recounts how a towering structure, believed to be the original home of Ho-Oh, was consumed by a mysterious fire. 3 unnamed Pokémon perished in the blaze, only to be resurrected by Ho-Oh's immense power, transforming them into the legendary beasts. Their constant movement stems from a deep-seated caution and a profound connection to the natural balance of Johto, a balance that the trainer, through their encounters, begins to understand and respect. Each encounter with these elusive Pokémon is a test of skill and patience, often requiring strategic tracking and careful engagement, underscoring their wild and untamed nature. Team Rocket, undeterred by their setbacks, continues to escalate their operations. Their desperation to re-establish contact with Giovanni, their former leader, reaches a fever pitch. Their grandest scheme unfolds at the Goldenrod Radio Tower, the central broadcasting hub of the Johto region. Here they plan to seize control of the airwaves and transmit a powerful signal, a desperate plea to Giovanni, hoping to lure him out of hiding and back to the helm of their revitalized organization. This act, if successful, would not only reignite Team Rocket's power, but also plunge Johto into chaos, signaling a return to the dark days of Kanto. The trainer, alerted to this audacious plot, mounts a daring infiltration of the radio tower, battling through waves of Team Rocket grunts and executives. In a climactic showdown, the trainer defeats the remaining Rocket leaders, dismantling their communication efforts and preventing the broadcast from reaching Giovanni. This decisive victory marks the final resurgence of Team Rocket in Johto, effectively crushing their hopes of restoration and ensuring the region's peace, at least for the time being. The trainer's actions here cement their status as a true hero, a defender of both Pokémon and people. With Team Rocket's threat neutralized, the trainer's journey shifts towards the ancient legends and powerful Pokémon that define the Johto region. They encounter the legendary Pokémon Lugia and Ho-Oh, two of the most revered and powerful beings in the Pokémon world. Lugia, the Guardian of the Seas, is associated with the treacherous Whirl Islands, a labyrinthine archipelago off the coast of Johto. Its immense power is said to control the ocean currents and calm the fiercest storms. Reaching Lugia often involves navigating complex underwater caves and solving ancient puzzles, a testament to its elusive nature and the reverence it commands. Ho-Oh, the rainbow Pokémon, is intrinsically linked to the Tin Tower, also known as the Bell Tower, in Ecruteak City, a structure steeped in history and spiritual significance. Ho-Oh is believed to bring happiness to those who see it, and is said to have created the legendary beasts. Encounters with these formidable Pokémon are not merely battles, but profound experiences, often requiring the trainer to prove their worthiness and understanding of the delicate balance between humanity and nature. These encounters are pivotal moments, deepening the trainer's connection to the spiritual and mythical aspects of the Pokémon world, and showcasing the unparalleled power that resides within these ancient beings. Having proven their strength and dedication through numerous trials, the trainer eventually reaches the pinnacle of competitive Pokémon battling in Johto, the Indigo Plateau. Here they face the formidable challenge of the Johto Elite Four, a quartet of exceptionally skilled trainers renowned for their mastery of specific Pokémon types and battle strategies. Will, a Psychic-type specialist, uses his foresight to predict opponents' moves. Koga, formerly a gym leader in Kanto, now commands a team of potent Poison-type Pokémon. Bruno, a master of Fighting-type Pokémon, relies on sheer power and martial arts prowess. And Karen, a trainer who believes in using only Pokémon she truly loves, specializes in Dark-type Pokémon, reflecting their often misunderstood nature. Each member of the Elite Four presents a unique tactical puzzle, demanding careful team composition and strategic thinking from the trainer. After overcoming these formidable opponents, the trainer faces the ultimate challenge, the Johto champion, Lance. Lance, a Dragon-type specialist, is a powerful and respected trainer, known for his unwavering dedication to justice and his iconic team of Dragonite. His battles are epic confrontations, pushing the trainer's skills to their absolute limit and culminating in a hard-earned victory that solidifies their status as the new Johto champion. However, the journey does not end with the Johto Championship. A unique aspect of the Johto region is its geographical proximity and historical connection to Kanto. After becoming champion, the trainer gains access to the Kanto region, a vast and familiar landscape filled with new challenges and opportunities. This expansion of the playable area is a groundbreaking feature, allowing players to explore an entirely new set of gyms, cities, and routes. The trainer embarks on a new quest, challenging the 8 Kanto gym leaders, each a formidable opponent in their own right, from the electric prowess of Leighton Surge to the enigmatic psychic abilities of Sabrina. This journey through Kanto serves as a retrospective, allowing the trainer to experience the region that started it all, albeit with new Pokémon and updated mechanics. As the trainer conquers each Kanto gym, they are not only proving their mastery, but also gaining a deeper appreciation for the rich history and diverse landscape of the Pokémon world. The ultimate challenge, however, awaits atop Manad Silva, a treacherous and isolated peak that separates the Kanto and Johto regions. Here, in a secluded and awe-inspiring location, the trainer encounters the previous Kanto champion, Red. Red, the silent protagonist of the original Kanto journey, has retreated to Mad Silva to train in solitude, honing his skills to an unparalleled degree. His team consists of powerful, high-level Pokémon, including his iconic Pikachu, Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, each a testament to his legendary journey. The battle against Red is not merely a test of strength, it is a clash of champions, a symbolic passing of the torch from one generation to the next. It is a moment that transcends the narrative, becoming a meta-commentary on the player's own journey and the enduring legacy of the Pokémon franchise. Defeating red atop Mumted Silver is the ultimate accomplishment, solidifying the trainer's place as a true Pokémon master, having conquered 2 regions and overcome the most powerful trainer in the known world. This climactic battle serves as a fitting end to an epic adventure, leaving the trainer with a sense of profound accomplishment and a deep understanding of the diverse and ever-evolving world of Pokémon. The modern era, as defined by the Kanto and Johto regions, thus concludes with the trainer having not only saved Johto from Team Rocket, but also having become a champion of 2 distinct yet interconnected regions, forever cementing their place in the annals of Pokémon history. As the new millennium dawned, the Pokémon world continued its rapid expansion, and in 2002, our journey brings us to the vibrant, ecologically diverse Hoenn region. This era, still firmly within the modern era of our timeline, marked a significant leap forward in the franchise, introducing a brand new continent, over 100 new Pokémon species, and a narrative deeply intertwined with environmental themes. Following the adventures in Kanto and Johto, trainers were now invited to explore a land dominated by vast oceans and sprawling land masses, a region where the very balance of nature hung precariously. Our story in Hoenn begins, as so many do, with a new protagonist, a young trainer arriving in the tranquil Littleroot town. Almost immediately, the player character is thrust into action, not by choice, but by circumstance. Professor Birch, the region's esteemed Pokémon professor, known for his research into Pokémon habitats and distribution, finds himself in a rather undignified predicament. While conducting fieldwork, he is cornered and attacked by a wild Poochyena, a dark-type Pokémon known for its tenacious pursuit of prey. This seemingly minor incident becomes the catalyst for the player's grand adventure. With the professor in distress, the player is prompted to choose their first partner Pokémon from his research bag, a critical decision that will shape their journey. The choices are Trico, a grass-type gecko Pokémon, Torchic, a fire-type chick Pokémon, or Mudkip, a water-type mudfish Pokémon. This moment, echoing the foundational choices made by trainers in Kanto and Johto, solidifies the player's role as a budding Pokémon trainer. With a new partner by their side, the player character, now officially a Pokémon trainer, embarks on their quest from Littleroot Town. The initial goal, a familiar one to seasoned players, is to challenge the region's 8 gym leaders and collect their respective gym badges, a testament to a trainer's skill and a prerequisite for participating in the prestigious Pokémon League. However, the Hoenn region is far from peaceful. Early in their journey, the player has their first encounter with one of 2 formidable organizations, either Team Aqua or Team Magma, depending on the specific version of the game being played. These teams represent opposing ideologies regarding the future of the Hoenn region, and indeed, the world. If playing Pokémon Ruby or Pokémon Emerald, the player will encounter Team Magma. Led by the stoic and intellectually driven Maxi, Team Magma believes that humanity's progress is hindered by the vastness of the oceans. Their ultimate goal is to expand the landmass of the world, creating more space for human civilization and technological advancement. They view the current balance as an impediment, believing that a world dominated by land would unlock humanity's full potential. Their initial nefarious plans often involve acquiring ancient artifacts or manipulating natural phenomena to achieve their land-expanding ambitions. Conversely, if playing Pokémon Sapphire or Pokémon Emerald, the player will instead encounter Team Aqua. Led by the passionate and charismatic Archie, Team Aqua holds a diametrically opposed viewpoint. They believe that the land is encroaching too much on the natural habitats of water Pokémon, and that the world would thrive if the oceans were expanded. Their vision is a world where the vastness of the sea allows for the flourishing of aquatic life, believing that this would restore a more natural and balanced ecosystem. Their early schemes typically involve attempts to gain control of weather-modifying technology or to steal items that could aid in their pursuit of an expanded ocean. These early encounters are crucial, as they introduce the overarching conflict that will define the Hoenn narrative. The player quickly learns that their journey to collect gym badges is intertwined with a much larger struggle for the fate of the region. Amidst these rising tensions, the player also meets May or Brendan, Professor Birch's own child. This character serves as the player's friendly rival throughout the journey, a recurring archetype that provides both a benchmark for progress and a source of engaging Pokémon battles. May or Brendan, having already received their starter Pokémon from Professor Birch, is also on a journey to become a strong trainer, and their paths frequently cross, leading to spirited and often challenging encounters. These battles are not merely tests of strength, they are opportunities for both trainers to learn and grow, pushing each other to refine their strategies and deepen their bonds with their Pokémon. The player's first major milestone in their gym badge quest comes in Rustboro City. Here, they challenge Roxanne, the gym leader specializing in rock-type Pokémon. Roxanne, a diligent and studious trainer, utilizes the sturdy defenses and powerful attacks of her rock Pokémon to great effect. Defeating Roxanne earns the player their first gym badge, the Stone Badge, a tangible symbol of their growing prowess as a trainer. This victory not only signifies progress in their personal journey, but also opens up new areas and opportunities for exploration. As the player continues their journey, they soon arrive in Slateport City, a bustling port town. It is here that they often find themselves assisting Captain Stern, a renowned marine researcher and inventor. Captain Stern is frequently at the center of Team Aqua or Team Magma's schemes, as his work often involves advanced technology or discoveries that could further their respective goals. The player character, by this point, has already demonstrated a knack for thwarting these criminal organizations. Whether it's preventing the theft of important equipment, recovering stolen research data, or protecting Captain Stern himself, the player consistently finds themselves in the role of an unexpected hero, disrupting the team's initial attempts to gain an advantage. These early interventions, while successful in the short term, often only delay the inevitable, as Team Aqua and Team Magma are persistent and resourceful. Indeed, despite the player's best efforts, both Team Aqua and Team Magma eventually achieve significant breakthroughs in their plans. One of the most critical moments in their early success involves the acquisition of either the Devon goods or a meteorite. The Devon Corporation, a powerful industrial entity in the Hoenn region, is known for its cutting-edge technology. The Devon goods typically refer to advanced devices or components that Team Aqua or Team Magma believe can be repurposed for their own ends, perhaps to control weather patterns or manipulate geological formations. Alternatively, a meteorite, an extraterrestrial object, is also sought after for its unique properties, which could be harnessed to influence natural phenomena on a grand scale. The successful theft or acquisition of these items marks a concerning escalation in the team's operations, signaling that their ambitions are moving beyond mere planning and into active execution. This development underscores the growing threat they pose to the Hoenn region. With the stakes continually rising, the player's journey takes them through diverse and challenging environments. They might find themselves traversing the scorching desert, a vast expanse of sand and rock, home to unique ground and rock type Pokémon adapted to the harsh conditions. Navigating the desert often involves overcoming sandstorms, mirages, and other environmental hazards. Alternatively, the player might explore the vast ocean, a sprawling network of sea routes connecting various islands and underwater caverns. This aquatic exploration introduces a plethora of water-type Pokémon and requires the use of the Surf Hidden Machine, HM, to traverse the waves. These varied landscapes not only offer new Pokémon to catch and train, but also serve as a constant reminder of the ecological diversity that Team Aqua and Team Magma threaten to disrupt. The environmental challenges encountered in these areas further emphasize the delicate balance of nature that the two teams are attempting to irrevocably alter. As the player gathers more gym badges and becomes increasingly aware of the escalating threat, their path inevitably leads them to confront Team Aqua or Team Magma directly. This often involves infiltrating one of their clandestine hideouts. If playing Pokémon Ruby, the player will seek out Team Magma's base, often located on Jagged Pass, a volcanic trail leading up Mount Chimney. This hideout is typically a complex network of caves and industrial structures, reflecting Team Magma's focus on harnessing geological power. If playing Pokémon Sapphire, the player will instead infiltrate Team Aqua's hideout, often situated in the mysterious seafloor cavern, a vast underwater complex accessible only by diving. This hideout emphasizes Team Aqua's mastery of the aquatic environment and their deep-sea operations. The goal of these infiltrations is always the same: to disrupt the team's plans and recover any stolen items or data. However, these attempts are often met with limited success. Despite the player's valiant efforts to thwart their schemes, Team Aqua or Team Magma ultimately succeeds in their primary objective: awakening a legendary Pokémon. If Team Magma is the antagonist, they manage to awaken Groudon, the continent Pokémon, from its slumber within the depths of Mount Chimney or a similar volcanic area. Groudon, a ground-type legendary, is said to be the creator of the land masses, and its awakening would unleash immense heat and cause widespread droughts, fulfilling Team Magma's vision of an expanded land. If Team Aqua is the antagonist, they succeed in awakening Kyogre, the sea basin Pokémon, from its ancient resting place in the seafloor cavern. Kyogre, a water-type legendary, is believed to be the creator of the oceans, and its awakening would bring forth torrential rains and devastating floods, realizing Team Aqua's desire for an expanded sea. This monumental event marks a critical turning point in the Hoenn narrative, as the legendary Pokémon, once thought to be mere myths, now stand poised to reshape the very landscape of the region, threatening to plunge the world into an environmental catastrophe. The player, having witnessed this cataclysmic awakening, now faces a challenge far greater than any gym leader or rival battle. The escalating conflict between the Primals, Groudon and Kyogre, now threatened to tear Hoenn apart. Their ancient power, once dormant, was unleashed with terrifying force, manifesting as extreme weather phenomena that ravaged the region. If you were playing Pokémon Ruby, Groudon's awakening plunged Hoenn into a relentless, suffocating drought. The sun beat down mercilessly, cracking the earth, drying riverbeds, and wilting crops. Water sources dwindled, and the very air shimmered with oppressive heat. Conversely, in Pokémon Sapphire, Kyogre's reawakening brought forth an unending deluge. Torrential rains lashed the land, causing widespread flooding, overflowing rivers, and turning once familiar landscapes into treacherous waterways. Coastal towns faced the constant threat of tsunamis, and the sky remained a perpetual bruised grey. In both scenarios, the natural balance of Hoenn was shattered, and the lives of its inhabitants were thrown into chaos. The very fabric of the ecosystem was under severe strain, with Pokémon struggling to adapt to the sudden, drastic shifts in their environment. Recognizing the dire implications of this unchecked elemental war, a key figure in Hoenn's history, either Stephen Stone or Wallace, depending on your game, understood that only a higher power could restore equilibrium. Stephen Stone, the current Hoenn champion in Ruby and Sapphire, or Wallace, his successor in Emerald, directed you, the budding trainer, to the Sky Pillar. This ancient, towering structure, shrouded in mystery and accessible only after navigating a treacherous path, was said to be the dwelling place of the legendary sky-high Pokémon, Rayquaza. Climbing the Sky Pillar was a test of endurance and resolve, with each floor presenting new challenges and wild Pokémon. At its apex, you discovered Rayquaza, slumbering peacefully, oblivious to the cataclysm unfolding below. With a carefully chosen Pokémon, you roused the colossal green dragon from its ancient sleep. Responding to the urgent plea, Rayquaza descended from the heavens, a majestic and awe-inspiring sight, its serpentine body cutting through the storm clouds or the oppressive heat haze. Its arrival instantly commanded the attention of the warring titans, Groudon and Kyogre, who momentarily ceased their destructive battle. Rayquaza, with an aura of undeniable authority, intervened directly. It unleashed a powerful, calming energy, a force that transcended the elemental fury of the other two legends. Its presence acted as a natural counterbalance, quelling the destructive conflict. The torrential rains began to dissipate, the floodwaters receded, and the scorching sun's intensity softened, or the parched earth slowly began to absorb moisture once more. The weather, once violently extreme, gradually returned to its natural state, and Hoenn breathed a collective sigh of relief. The immediate threat of ecological collapse was averted, thanks to Rayquaza's timely intervention and your role in awakening it. With the immediate crisis resolved, and the legendary Pokémon returned to their respective slumbers or domains, your journey as a Pokémon trainer was far from over. The path to becoming the Hoenn champion lay ahead, requiring you to collect the remaining gym badges. These badges, symbols of triumph over Hoenn's strongest gym leaders, represented mastery over various Pokémon types and battle strategies. You would challenge Flannery, the fiery gym leader of Lava Ridge Town, known for her passionate personality and powerful fire-type Pokémon. Then, you would face Norman, your own father, the stoic and strategic gym leader of Petalburg City, specializing in normal-type Pokémon. His battle was often a significant emotional and strategic hurdle. Following that, you would travel to Fortree City to battle Winona, the elegant flying-type gym leader who commanded the skies with grace and power. Finally, you would journey to Sotopolis City, a town built within an ancient crater, to confront Wallace in Ruby and Sapphire, or Juan in Emerald, both water-type specialists known for their sophisticated battle approaches and powerful aquatic Pokémon. Each victory brought you closer to the ultimate challenge, honing your skills and strengthening your team. Having secured all 8 gym badges, a testament to your growing prowess, you embarked on the final leg of your journey, Victory Road. This challenging cave system, a rite of passage for all aspiring champions, served as a natural barrier between the main region and the Pokémon League. Victory Road was not merely a path, but a gauntlet, teeming with powerful wild Pokémon and requiring trainers to utilize various hidden machines, HMs, like Strength, Surf, and Waterfall to navigate its intricate passages. Boulders blocked paths, strong currents swept through underground rivers, and waterfalls cascaded down cavern walls, demanding both strategic thinking and a well-rounded team. The trainers encountered within Victory Road were also among the strongest in Hoenn, each having earned their right to challenge the League, providing valuable experience and a final test before the ultimate showdown. Emerging from the depths of Victory Road, you arrived at the Pokémon League, the pinnacle of competitive battling in Hoenn. Here, you faced the formidable Hoenn Elite Four, a quartet of exceptionally skilled trainers, each specializing in a particular Pokémon type and possessing a unique battle style. First was Sydney, the Dark-type specialist, whose cunning strategies and powerful Pokémon aimed to exploit your team's weaknesses. Next, you faced Phoebe, the Ghost-type master, whose ethereal Pokémon and unsettling tactics often left opponents bewildered. Her battles were known for their psychological intensity. Then came Glacier, the Ice-type expert, who commanded a team of formidable Pokémon capable of freezing opponents in their tracks with their chilling attacks. Finally, you challenged Drake, the Dragon-type trainer, whose powerful and majestic Pokémon represented the pinnacle of raw strength and resilience. Defeating each member of the Elite Four required not only a strong team, but also adaptability, foresight, and a deep understanding of type matchups. With the Elite Four vanquished, only one challenge remained: the Hoenn Champion. In Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, you faced Steven Stone, the charismatic and powerful champion known for his love of rare stones and his formidable team of Steel-type Pokémon. His Metagross, in particular, was a force to be reckoned with, requiring careful planning and execution to overcome. His battle was a true test of a trainer's mastery. In Pokémon Emerald, however, the champion you faced was Wallace, the former Sutopolis gym leader, who had ascended to the champion's throne. Wallace, a master of water-type Pokémon, commanded a graceful yet incredibly powerful team, culminating in his majestic Milotic, a Pokémon known for its beauty and defensive prowess. Defeating either Steven or Wallace marked the culmination of your journey, as you were officially recognized as the new Hoenn Champion, a title of immense prestige and responsibility. Your name was etched into the annals of Hoenn's history, a testament to your dedication and skill. Becoming champion, however, was not the end of your adventure. In Pokémon Emerald, a significant post-game area known as the Battle Frontier became accessible. This expansive facility was a true test of a trainer's skill, offering 7 distinct battle facilities, each with its own unique rules and challenges. You could face the Battle Factory, where you rented Pokémon to compete, or the Battle Arena, which focused on strategy and judgment. The Battle Dome tested your tournament skills, while the Battle Pike involved navigating a series of rooms with unpredictable outcomes. The Battle Palace relied on your Pokémon's natural instincts, and the Battle Pyramid challenged you to navigate a dark maze. Finally, the Battle Tower was a straightforward test of strength against increasingly powerful trainers. Conquering each facility and defeating its frontier brain awarded you with commemorative prints, further solidifying your reputation as a master trainer. Even in Ruby and Sapphire, and certainly in Emerald, the post-game offered extensive opportunities for exploration and new challenges. This included the ability to re-challenge the Elite Four, whose teams would often become stronger, and participate in various contests and side quests across the region, deepening your connection to Hoenn. Beyond the competitive battling circuits, the post-game in Hoenn also presented opportunities to encounter and capture other legendary Pokémon, further enriching your collection and understanding of the region's ancient lore. You could embark on a quest to find the legendary Titans, Regirock, Regite, and Registeel. Unlocking their ancient sealed chambers involved deciphering cryptic messages written in Braille, scattered across Hoenn's remote locations, and following specific, often obscure, instructions. Each Titan presented a unique challenge, guarding its chamber with immense power. Additionally, you had the chance to encounter the Eon Pokémon, Latios or Latios, depending on your game version. These elusive psychic flying-type Pokémon roamed freely across the Hoenn region after you became champion, requiring patience and strategic use of the Area Nav's tracking features to pinpoint and engage them in battle. In Emerald, both Latios and Latios could be found, with one roaming and the other available at Southern Island through a special event. These legendary encounters not only added powerful Pokémon to your team, but also provided a deeper dive into Hoenn's mystical past and the ancient beings that shaped its landscape and legends. The journey continued, offering endless possibilities for discovery and mastery. As the calendar pages turn to 2006, our timeline shifts its focus to the Sinnoh region, a land steeped in ancient myths and the very fabric of creation itself. Following the events in Hoenn, the world continued to evolve, and this new era, dubbed the Modern Era, Sinnoh, unveils a narrative of cosmic power and existential threats. Before recorded history, in a time beyond human comprehension, the alpha Pokémon, Arceus, the progenitor of all things, brought forth the Sinnoh region. From its own essence, Arceus manifested 3 legendary Pokémon of immense power: Dialga, the master of time itself; Palkia, the sovereign of space; and Giratina, the ruler of antimatter and the distortion world, a parallel dimension. Simultaneously, Arceus also created the Lake Guardians: Yaxi, the being of knowledge; Mesprit, the being of emotion; and Azelf, the being of willpower. These 3 benevolent Pokémon were placed in the 3 great lakes of Sinnoh, Lake Acuity, Lake Verity, and Lake Valor, to impart their gifts to humanity. This foundational act of creation laid the groundwork for all that would follow in Sinnoh. Millennia later, the ancient inhabitants of Sinnoh, awestruck by the raw power and cosmic influence of these legendary beings, began to record their observations and beliefs. These early people, likely the ancestors of the modern-day Sinnoh populace, meticulously carved their myths and legends onto stone tablets and passed down oral traditions. They spoke of Dialga and Palkia not just as powerful creatures, but as the very forces that governed the flow of existence, their movements dictating the passage of time and the expanse of space. These narratives, often poetic and symbolic, described the origins of the world and the delicate balance maintained by these legendary Pokémon, forming the core of Sinnoh's rich cultural heritage and spiritual understanding. It is into this world, rich with history and legend, that our story for 2006 truly begins. In the quaint, unassuming town of Twinleaf, nestled amidst verdant landscapes, a young and ambitious trainer embarks on their Pokémon journey. This trainer, whose name would soon become synonymous with heroism in Sinnoh, approaches the renowned Professor Rowan, a leading authority on Pokémon evolution. From the professor's laboratory, the trainer makes a momentous decision, choosing their very first Pokémon partner, a pivotal moment that marks the true commencement of their adventure. This initial choice, whether it be the grass-type Turtwig, the fire-type Chimchar, or the water-type Piplup, sets the stage for the countless battles and discoveries that lie ahead. Almost immediately, the trainer encounters their energetic and somewhat impulsive rival, Barry. Hailing from the same Twinleaf town, Barry is equally eager to begin his own Pokémon journey. He also receives his first Pokémon from Professor Rowan, always choosing the Pokémon with a type advantage over the player's starter. Barry's competitive spirit and frequent challenges serve as both a motivation and a recurring test of skill for our protagonist, pushing them to grow stronger and understand the nuances of Pokémon battling. Their rivalry, though often boisterous on Barry's part, is ultimately one of mutual respect and friendship, evolving as they both traverse the Sinnoh region. As the trainer journeys through Sinnoh, honing their skills and expanding their Pokémon team, they are soon introduced to a shadowy organization with sinister motives, Team Galactic. Their first encounter with this enigmatic group often occurs early in their travels, perhaps during an investigation into strange occurrences or a confrontation over a seemingly minor theft. Team Galactic, led by the enigmatic and seemingly emotionless Cyrus, quickly establishes itself as a formidable antagonist. Cyrus's grand ambition is not merely to conquer a region or amass wealth, but to create a new world, a universe devoid of spirit and emotion, a world he believes is perfect. This audacious goal immediately sets Team Galactic apart from previous villainous organizations, highlighting the cosmic scale of their aspirations. Throughout their journey across the diverse landscapes of Sinnoh, from the bustling streets of Jubilife City to the serene shores of Lake Verity, the trainer repeatedly clashes with Team Galactic. These encounters are not isolated incidents, but a series of escalating confrontations. The trainer battles countless Team Galactic grunts, the organization's foot soldiers, identifiable by their distinctive blue and white uniforms and peculiar hairstyles. More significantly, the trainer frequently faces off against Team Galactic's formidable commanders: Mars, a hot-headed and fiercely loyal strategist; Jupiter, a cunning and calculating operative; and Saturn, a calm and collected tactician. These battles occur at various key locations, including the Valley Windworks, where Team Galactic attempts to harness energy, and the Eterna City Galactic Building, a seemingly innocuous structure that serves as one of their early bases of operation. Each victory against these commanders brings the trainer closer to understanding the true scope of Team Galactic's nefarious plans. The true gravity of Team Galactic's intentions becomes chillingly clear when they launch a coordinated assault on Sinnoh's 3 sacred lakes. In a series of audacious raids, Team Galactic successfully steals the Lake Guardians, Uxie from Lake Acuity, Mesprit from Lake Verity, and Azelf from Lake Valor. These legendary Pokémon, embodiments of knowledge, emotion, and willpower, are crucial to Cyrus's grand design. The removal of these vital beings from their natural habitats sends ripples of unease throughout Sinnoh, as the balance of the region is visibly disturbed. The trainer, witnessing these events firsthand, understands that Team Galactic's actions are far more profound than simple theft, hinting at a much larger, more destructive objective. Following the acquisition of the Lake Guardians, Cyrus reveals the full, terrifying extent of his plan. He intends to use the power of the legendary Lake Guardians to forge a red chain, a mystical artifact capable of binding and controlling even the most powerful legendary Pokémon. With the red chain, Cyrus aims to subjugate Dialga and Palkia, the deities of time and space. His ultimate goal is to bend these cosmic forces to his will, to utterly destroy the current universe, which he views as flawed and imperfect due to the presence of emotion and spirit, and then to create a new one in his own image, a cold, sterile, and utterly controlled dimension. This revelation underscores the existential threat Team Galactic poses, not just to Sinnoh, but to the very fabric of reality. With their plans advancing, Team Galactic establishes their primary headquarters in Veilstone City, a bustling urban center. From this fortified base, they coordinate their operations, conduct their research, and prepare for the final stages of Cyrus's grand scheme. The Veilstone City Galactic Building becomes a hive of activity, with grunts and commanders working tirelessly to bring Cyrus's vision to fruition. Their presence casts a long shadow over the city, and the citizens of Sinnoh live under a growing sense of dread as the organization's power and influence expand. This centralized command center becomes a critical target for the trainer, who understands that dismantling Team Galactic's operations here is crucial to thwarting their ultimate goal. The culmination of Team Galactic's efforts and the trainer's relentless pursuit leads to a climactic confrontation at the Spear Pillar. This ancient, sacred site, perched atop the formidable Mount Coronet, is where the veil between dimensions is thinnest and where the legends of Dialga and Palkia are most potent. It is here that Cyrus intends to summon and control the legendary Pokémon, using the red chain to enact his universe-shattering plan. The trainer, having overcome numerous challenges and grown immensely in strength and experience, ascends Mount Coronet, knowing that the fate of Sinnoh, and indeed the entire universe, rests on their shoulders. The air at the Spear Pillar crackles with raw cosmic energy, and the stage is set for a battle of epic proportions, a clash that will determine the very nature of existence. Team Galactic, under the fanatical leadership of Cyrus, was not merely interested in capturing powerful Pokémon, but in harnessing their very essence to achieve a cosmic reset. Their ultimate goal, revealed in the year 2006, was to summon and control the legendary Pokémon Dialga, the Master of Time, and Palkia, the Master of Space. By manipulating these cosmic deities, Cyrus intended to dismantle the existing universe and reconstruct it according to his own cold, emotionless vision, a world devoid of spirit and emotion which he viewed as imperfections. This audacious plan, however, had immediate and devastating consequences for the fabric of reality itself. As Team Galactic's experiments intensified, particularly in their clandestine operations at the Spear Pillar atop Mount Coronet, distortions began to ripple through space and time across the Sinnoh region. These anomalies manifested as strange weather patterns, localized shifts in gravity, and even temporal paradoxes, causing Pokémon and people alike to experience unsettling phenomena. The very air sometimes shimmered with an otherworldly energy, hinting at the profound cosmic imbalance Team Galactic was actively creating. It was amidst this growing cosmic instability that the Sinnoh champion, Cynthia, a formidable trainer renowned for her intellect and powerful Garchomp, recognized the gravity of the situation. She had been monitoring Team Galactic's activities with growing concern, her keen understanding of Sinnoh's ancient lore offering her unique insight into the potential ramifications of their actions. Cynthia, a figure of unwavering resolve and deep connection to the region's myths, understood that the trainer, a young but exceptionally talented individual who had already thwarted several of Team Galactic's lesser schemes, was uniquely positioned to confront Cyrus directly. She provided crucial guidance and support, not only in terms of strategic advice, but also by actively engaging Team Galactic's grunts and commanders herself, clearing a path and buying valuable time for the trainer to reach the heart of the crisis. Her presence was a beacon of hope, and a testament to the fact that the established order of the Pokémon world would not crumble without a fight. Cyrus's reckless pursuit of a new universe, however, had an unforeseen and catastrophic side effect. His attempts to bend Dialga and Palkia to his will, while partially successful in unleashing their power, also inadvertently disturbed the slumber of another primordial deity, Giratina. Giratina, the renegade Pokémon, is a being associated with antimatter and the distortion world, a parallel dimension that exists outside the conventional laws of space and time. This dimension is characterized by its inverted gravity, fragmented landscapes, and an ethereal, unsettling atmosphere. As Cyrus's actions caused unprecedented ruptures in the space-time continuum, Giratina was drawn out of its shadowy realm, its presence manifesting as further, even more severe, distortions. These weren't just localized anomalies, they were tears in the very fabric of reality, threatening to unravel the universe itself. The distortion world began to bleed into Sinnoh, creating pockets of surreal, physics-defying environments that defied all natural explanation. Recognizing the escalating danger and the direct link between Cyrus's actions and Giratina's emergence, the trainer was compelled to follow Cyrus into this terrifying, inverted dimension. Cyrus, obsessed with his vision and undeterred by the cosmic chaos he had unleashed, saw the distortion world not as a threat, but as a blank canvas, an ideal realm where he could finally execute his grand design without interference from the imperfect laws of the conventional universe. The pursuit through the distortion world was a disorienting and perilous journey, demanding not only battle prowess, but also an acute understanding of its bizarre physics. Gravity would shift without warning, platforms would appear and disappear, and the very air seemed to hum with Giratina's primal energy. Within this chaotic landscape, the trainer finally cornered Cyrus, leading to a climactic confrontation not on the familiar battlefields of Sinnoh, but in the heart of a dimension where reality itself was fluid. The battle against Cyrus in the distortion world was a testament to the trainer's unwavering resolve. Cyrus, despite his philosophical detachment, was a formidable opponent, utilizing a team of powerful Pokémon that reflected his cold, calculating nature. His defeat marked a pivotal moment, not just in the Sinnoh narrative, but in the broader cosmic balance. By overcoming Cyrus, the trainer effectively thwarted his cataclysmic plan to destroy and recreate the universe. The immediate consequence was the stabilization of the space-time distortions, preventing the complete collapse of reality. While Giratina remained a powerful and enigmatic presence, its destructive potential was contained, and the distortion world, though still a dangerous realm, ceased its aggressive encroachment upon Sinnoh. This victory secured the safety of the known universe, returning a fragile equilibrium to the cosmic forces that govern existence. With the universe saved from immediate annihilation, the trainer could then resume their more conventional, yet equally challenging journey across the Sinnoh region. This involved collecting all 8 Sinnoh gym badges, a traditional rite of passage for any aspiring Pokémon trainer. Each gym leader presented a unique challenge, testing the trainer's strategic thinking, team composition, and understanding of Pokémon types. From the rock-type specialists like Rourke in Orberg City to the ice-type mastery of Candace in Snowpoint City, each badge represented a significant milestone. These battles were not just about winning. They were about growth, learning, and forging deeper bonds with their Pokémon. Earning all 8 badges was the definitive proof of the trainer's strength, skill, and dedication, signifying their readiness to face the ultimate challenge of the Pokémon League. Armed with their 8 badges, the trainer then embarked on the arduous journey to the Pokémon League, located on a secluded island accessible only after navigating the treacherous Victory Road. The Pokémon League is the pinnacle of competitive Pokémon training, a gauntlet designed to test the very best. Here the trainer faced the Elite Four, a quartet of exceptionally skilled trainers, each specializing in a particular Pokémon type or battle strategy. Aaron, the Bug-type master, presented a challenge of speed and status conditions. Bertha, the Ground-type expert, demanded careful planning against her defensive juggernauts. Flint, the Fire-type enthusiast, brought the heat with his aggressive offensive. Finally, Lucian, the psychic-type savant, tested the trainer's mental fortitude and ability to counter powerful special attackers. Each victory against an Elite Four member was a step closer to the ultimate goal, a testament to the trainer's comprehensive mastery of Pokémon battling. After conquering the Elite Four, the trainer stood before the final hurdle, the reigning Sinnoh champion, Cynthia. The battle against Cynthia was not merely a test of strength, but a climactic clash of ideals and a culmination of the entire Sinnoh journey. Cynthia, with her diverse and powerful team, including her iconic Garchomp, Spiritomb, and Lucario, represented the absolute pinnacle of Pokémon training in the region. Her strategic prowess, her deep understanding of Pokémon abilities, and her calm demeanor under pressure made her an incredibly formidable opponent. The champion battle was a multi-stage engagement, demanding every ounce of the trainer's skill, foresight, and the unwavering loyalty of their Pokémon. It was a true test of their journey, their growth, and the bonds they had forged. In a hard-fought, exhilarating display of skill and determination, the trainer ultimately emerged victorious against Cynthia. This triumph was more than just a personal victory. It was a symbolic passing of the torch, signifying the rise of a new era. By defeating Cynthia, the trainer officially became the new champion of the Sinnoh region, earning the right to stand at the top of the Pokémon League. This achievement solidified their place in history, not only as a powerful trainer, but also as the individual who had saved the universe from Team Galactic's destructive ambitions. The journey through Sinnoh, from battling wild Pokémon to confronting cosmic threats, culminated in this ultimate recognition, marking a new chapter in the rich tapestry of the Pokémon world. And so, we arrive at the modern era, beginning around 2010 with the release of the Unova region games and extending through to the present day with Paldea. This period marks a significant expansion of the Pokémon world, introducing diverse new Pokémon species, innovative gameplay mechanics, and complex narratives that delve deeper into the philosophical and ethical implications of the human-Pokémon bond. The Unova region, inspired by New York City, was the first to break from the traditional Japan-inspired settings, offering a fresh perspective on the Pokémon universe. Here, trainers encountered a completely new Pokédex, meaning that for the first time, players could not catch any Pokémon from previous generations until after completing the main story, fostering a sense of discovery. Unova was also the stage for the emergence of Team Plasma, a group with a seemingly noble goal, the liberation of all Pokémon from their trainers. They argued that keeping Pokémon in Pokéballs, the spherical devices used to capture and store Pokémon, was a form of enslavement, and that true freedom for Pokémon could only be achieved by severing all ties with humanity. This ideology resonated with many, drawing a significant following. At the heart of Team Plasma's movement was N, a young man with a unique ability to understand the speech of Pokémon. Raised in isolation by Pokémon and tutored by Ghetsis, one of the 7 sages of Team Plasma, genuinely believed in the cause of Pokémon liberation. He was presented as the king of Team Plasma, a charismatic figurehead who captivated the masses with his impassioned speeches and his seemingly pure intentions. However, N was, in fact, a pawn in a far more sinister game orchestrated by Ghetsis. Ghetsis' true aim was not the liberation of Pokémon, but rather the creation of a world where he alone possessed Pokémon, giving him absolute power and allowing him to rule unopposed. He manipulated N, exploiting his empathy and connection to Pokémon, to rally support for Team Plasma and to awaken one of the legendary dragon Pokémon of Unova, Reshiram, the vast white Pokémon, representing truth, or Zekrom, the deep black Pokémon, representing ideals. The specific legendary awakened depended on the version of the game the player was experiencing. N was led to believe that by awakening this powerful legendary, he could achieve his vision of a world where Pokémon were truly free. The player character, a new trainer embarking on their journey, found themselves inadvertently drawn into this ideological conflict. Alongside their rivals, Cherin and Bianca, and with guidance from Alder, the reigning champion of the Unova region, the player began to uncover the true nature of Team Plasma. Through a series of battles and encounters, the player challenged N's convictions and, in doing so, forced N to confront the inconsistencies in Ghetsis' philosophy. The climax of this conflict saw the player character, aided by the other legendary dragon, either Zekrom or Reshiram depending on N's choice, confronting N and ultimately defeating him. This victory, however, was not the end. Ghetsis, enraged by N's failure and the unraveling of his grand scheme, revealed his manipulative nature and his true ambition for world domination. He attempted to seize control of the legendary Pokémon himself, but was ultimately thwarted by the player and Elder. Ghetsis' defeat exposed the hypocrisy of Team Plasma's leadership and allowed N to begin his own journey of self-discovery, questioning everything he had ever believed. The Unova region, through this narrative, explored complex themes of freedom, truth, and the ethical responsibilities of trainers. Following Unova, new horizons continued to open up, bringing not only new regions and Pokémon, but also groundbreaking battle mechanics that dramatically altered the strategic landscape of Pokémon battles. The Kalos region, inspired by France, introduced Mega Evolution. This phenomenon allowed certain Pokémon, under specific conditions, and holding a special item called a Mega Stone, to temporarily transform into a more powerful form during battle. This change was not merely cosmetic. Mega-evolved Pokémon often gained significant stat boosts, new abilities, and sometimes even a change in their type, adding a completely new layer of tactical depth. For instance, Charizard, a fire and flying type, could Mega-evolve into Mega Charizard X, gaining the Dragon type and a formidable attack stat, or Mega Charizard Y, enhancing its special attack and its drought ability. This temporary power-up could turn the tide of a battle, requiring trainers to carefully consider when and how to utilize this potent ability. The Alola region, a tropical archipelago inspired by Hawaii, brought forth Z-moves. These were incredibly powerful, once-per-battle attacks that any Pokémon could use, provided they held a specific Z-crystal corresponding to one of their move types. When activated, the Pokémon and its trainer would perform a synchronized pose, channeling their collective energy into a devastating attack. For example, a Pokémon with a Fire-type move and a Firium Z-crystal could unleash Inferno Overdrive, a supercharged Fire-type attack with immense power. Z-moves added a dramatic, cinematic flair to battles and served as a powerful trump card, forcing players to anticipate when their opponent might unleash such a devastating blow. From the primordial chaos that birthed Arceus to the boundless potential of future discoveries, the Pokémon timeline is a testament to an ever-expanding universe, a continuous saga of creation, evolution, and the enduring bond between humans and these extraordinary creatures. This intricate tapestry, woven through millennia of legend, scientific advancement, and countless individual journeys, reveals a world constantly reinventing itself while holding fast to its core magic. And that is the complete Pokémon timeline.